Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode at General Geekery. I am Brian, and with me, as always, is JD.
Hello and Happy New Year.
And
Um,
Happy New Year! And holy fuck, it is time once again. This will be our third annual top 10 acquisitions list. Top
yeah,
10
we
acquisitions of the year. So I think what makes this particularly interesting is this is like anything that we've picked up during the year. So it can be there's stuff that's on our lists that are one of a kind and stuff that you can still buy at retail now. So I think it's a very diverse collection of acquisitions for the year. It's always a tough list to put together because Jack
yes,
buy a lot of shit. So uh,
yeah,
and there is always cool stuff coming out. So I think, and of course, the hardest part is finding a good picture of Quark for the thumbnail because this is kind of that's what when we first did this particular episode, I'm like, it should be like, there should be a Ferengi in the show notes or in the thumbnail for the show because we called it our top 10 acquisitions, and it's the rules of acquisition for
well, and
Ferengi.
you could always mix it up and go with one of the a picture of one of the first appearance on TNG, uh, Ferengi with the fur cape
Yeah.
and the and the light whip because they were all about the acquisitions then too, but they were more like pirates. But
Yeah.
um, but
So I think on our last episode, I went first with the first thing off of my list. So I'm going to let JD go with his first. And my list is not in any particular order.
mine isn't in any particular order other than I kept the I've got a lot of classified and I've got those grouped together and then I've got the other stuff spread out, but I might go every other acquisition as a Joe. For the non-Joes, I've got them to show off for the camera in case there's people not familiar with it. For the Joes,
I was going to just drop thumbnails. I was going to edit the show and drop thumbnails in.
okay. Um,
That's what I did here.
um, so yeah, my first hang on one second. My very first one right off the bat, the Frag Viper, the Cobra Frag Viper, classified Cobra Frag Viper, which was not only 100% improvement over the original design, because the original Frag Viper, while being memorable, left a lot to be desired. The coolest thing about it was the helmet. And basically, the classified team must have agreed because they're like, all right, the coolest thing about the Frag Viper is the helmet and the highlight style grenade thrower. Let's fix it from there. They
Yeah.
kept a similar color scheme and improved everything. They made it more tactical. They made it more interesting. It's more detailed. And frankly, I think it's cooler than a Frag Viper really had any business being. I remember when they first name only announced the Frag Viper, I was just like, all right, let's see what they can do with it because the original was really a pretty bland figure. But
It,
they really, as soon as I opened that class, as soon as we saw the pictures of the classified Frag Viper, I was like, oh my God, what did they do? And then getting it in hand and opening it, I'm just like, they really, they, I'm not a big fan of the phrase they understood the assignment, but in this case, they understood the fucking assignment and they aced it. Um, they made the Frag Viper much cooler than younger me would have ever anticipated the Frag Viper being because the original, the only time I really thought it was cool is when the GI Joe Collectors Club repainted it in jungle colors for Operation Moth.
yep.
But otherwise, and that was only because of the color scheme. Really, it was still that bland mold, but in more interesting colors. Where classified, they just instead of like a weird bland like a brown coverall, he's got more like a burnt sienna fatigues uniform, and it just I don't know. They did everything right with it and made the helmet removable and gave him a cool humanoid but very cyborg look underneath the helmet.
Yes.
So they kind of did everything right with it. So it's a natural first choice for my top 10 this year.
All right. I want to preface my first choice by saying that JD and I have no idea what's on each other's lists.
No,
My first choice at the top of my list for 2025, classified Frag Viper.
I could probably guess at a couple of yours. I kind of figured the Frag Viper might be on it, but I didn't really imagine be at the top of both of our lists, especially because our lists are in no particular order.
Yep.
Um,
Nope. It was first thing on top of my list. I did not have the Frag Viper as a kid. I did not like the figure as a kid. I made a Frag Viper Immortal as one of my first customs when I first started customizing it. Uh,
Damn, that was a long time ago.
yeah, it was about 20 years ago.
You
Um,
still have you still have pictures of it? I want to see it.
they are probably on Joe Customs still.
Ah, okay.
I think all my stuff is under Go Figure now. They moved it all over when when we had John on. He moved
Ah,
it.
okay.
He cleaned up some
Um,
stuff because I'd gotten banned from Joe Customs a couple of times years and years and years ago. So I just
yeah, well,
and now it's
yeah,
just a
because you were
repository of computer viruses. So I don't recommend going to the site to look for it. Um,
the archive is still there and okay. It's the board that got eaten up by viruses and shit. And I think the Joe Customs wiki might still be intact, but okay, so the wiki's gone too.
the
I
wiki is
think the figure archive is okay because a couple of months ago, when I was looking for obscure figures, like to compare to one I was working on, and realized some of these characters are so obscure, there's barely any customs of them there.
yeah.
I think the figure archive is okay,
Yeah, no, the
but
wiki is fine because I when I started making my own card backs, I went into the wiki and pulled all the templates out that I could that were still
ah,
sellable. So I have those on a G drive and a video on this YouTube channel on how to access that G drive. It's public, everybody can get a hold of it. Some of that stuff is from Joe Customs. But anyway, I was going to say that I did not have the Frag Viper when I was a kid. Didn't have it, didn't like it. Um, I did a custom of it as a Frag Viper Immortal when I first started customizing. I did a male Frag Viper custom a number of years ago that I really liked. He was beefy, very tactical. Came with I had the Highline thrower and one of the Marauder multi-shot grenade launchers. I muted the colors down a little bit to make them less garish, and I think it worked pretty well. One of the other figures that JD didn't mention was that the club had done a version of the Frag Viper, um, which also did not work very well. Their parts selection for that particular figure was very weird.
oh, the modern one from
Yeah,
the Night Force
yeah,
uh, convention set. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right because they use the Ultimate Version 2 style Snake Eyes from Retaliation, which was basically a skin tight outfit like Snake Eyes wore for that figure.
yes,
And then they repainted that skin tight outfit in light brown for the Frag Viper, and then in neon green for Leto, the Frag Viper commander. I forgot about both of those. I blocked them out. Yeah, that the Frag Viper design proved once again there to be not that great, and their update not that great.
no.
So
And the one thing that that update was good for is the legs on that figure were perfect for a female Frag Viper,
yeah,
which
oh, you know
I
what? Yeah, that's a good point.
which I
Because along with the skin
want.
tight outfit that they gave that Snake Eyes figure, the his build was too wiry, I think, for Snake Eyes. He should be a little beefier, and that figure was really skinny.
It was.
Um,
It worked perfectly for a female Frag Viper.
that's a good point.
One of my favorite female customs that I've worked on is that one. Got a lot of likes, a lot of comments on that it was people really liked the build and the update of it. But for all the same reasons that JD liked the Frag Viper, the classified Frag Viper, I concur. I think it's a fantastic update. I like everything that they did with this figure, and I think it's a fantastic figure. So that's it was the first figure that came to mind that went on my list.
Yeah, basically the Frag Viper's been on my list since I got it back in, I don't know, what was it, June, July? The rest of my list I had to figure out later. Frag Viper's been there for 6 months.
Yeah, I was
Um,
Frag Viper. When I opened it, I'm like, this is going to go on my top 10 acquisitions list.
yeah, same. Um, my second choice. I have a feeling the rest of ours are probably going to diverge. Um, the
Maybe. I don't know.
um, my second choice is Xandar, Zartan and Zorana's brother, Zorana's lost twin, finally showed up in the classified line this year.
Did.
I I wasn't bothered that they made us wait a couple of years for Xandar. Really, I was just glad that they gave us Xandar because in a lot of reboots for the Joe line, they would give us different Zoranas,
Yeah,
but due to the O-ring version, either due to the lost mold, we never got a repaint of the O-ring.
right.
And even in the new sculpt line, there were and comic packs, there was a couple of different Zoranas. Xandar never got an update
Did not.
until the Big Bad Toy Store 7 pack of Dreadnoks.
Yeah.
Um,
And that was
that
a particular.
that had a decent Xandar in there, whose head sculpt was based on um, Eric Aranya, and that was a great figure. But yeah, so for Xandar's two versions, Zorana's had about 8 versions, but finally Classified gave us a Xandar. They mixed it up a little bit with the shoulder armor. He's got some extra details. He's got a kind of a flak vest on, and he was a perfect update. And the figure's got some really great details, like across the neck. He's got a healed scar
Oh
that
wow.
go like he survived somebody slitting his throat, and that is a grisly fucking detail,
That
and
is.
I love it.
I didn't.
Um,
Huh.
yeah, they gave Xandar. He's got longer hair, but otherwise he's pretty classic looking. And they gave him a wicked knife. I think he's got one that goes in the sheath. But he's got one that honestly it looks like he could probably kill 3 people at one time with one thrust of this blade. It's pretty gross. But I I love that detail because when I was a kid, I was fascinated by all the little details sculpted on Xandar. And it's like the classified team, somebody at classified is like they were as big a fan of Xandar as I was, and they just went nuts with the classified update, and I was so happy for it. And I think it was the first new figure that I got of 2025 because I went back and I looked and I'm like, sure enough, it was like I think I got it on like January 10th or 15th or so. I'm like, all right, so I guess he's been on my list for a while too. But classified Xandar, they did everything with that I would have wanted them to do, and they knocked it out of the park. If it's the last Xandar we ever get for whatever reason, he goes out on a high note. So, um, yeah, so easy second choice for me. Oh,
Yeah.
look, another Dreadnought. Um,
I was always very disappointed that we never got a second version of Xandar. I had Xandar as a kid. Loved him. I had all three of them. Uh, Zartan, Zoran, and Xandar. Uh, Played with them, all three of them, a lot, and just kept watching Zorana get updates and be like,
exactly. It
And they
it
were
hurt. It hurt.
they were decent figures for the time. So
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you know, especially when the Pursuit of Cobra Zartan came out in that desert gear, I'm like, I want a fucking Xandar and Zorana in this theme to go with them. And
And nope, nope.
no,
Um,
like I really hoped I'm like I could live without a Zorana. I mean, I ended up doing a custom to go with that Zartan that was I just used a Agent Helix body and then a decent
okay.
and repainted it in desert colors. And I'm like, I really want a new Xandar to go with these two figures.
You know, the thing is, on his file card, it says that he's the forgotten sibling.
Yeah.
And that wound up
Very
becoming a
appropriate.
self fulfilling prophecy for years where he was forgotten about. His original mold was lost or broken or whatever happened. So there was no access to it. It showed up in India and then it was gone. The club in 2004 repainted almost all of the dreadnoughts for their operation. I think it was Mayhem in the Everglades or something,
I don't remember
and
what the name was.
the only dreadnoughts missing from that set were Torch and Xandar, both of whose molds were no longer available. And it was weird to see them all get sort of cool urban camouflage in different colors, but Xandar and Torch were left out. So now, if they ever want to repaint this Xandar in other colors and maybe give us a theme set with Zorana and Xandar and a two packers, I would be all for that. But yeah, Zartan was finally happy to get his kid brother. Zorana was finally. I always pictured them, even though there were the twins and they were both tough as nails. I figured he was the strong silent type and she was the loudmouth who kept him in line, and he just tolerated it. And I was very, I basically I've liked all of their classified updates, but Xandar was well worth the wait.
Nice. Let's see. For my next one, I also went with another G.I. Joe classified figure. I went with the Ghost Viper. This thing is,
Fucking great choice.
yeah, I any specialty Viper, I'm going to be a huge fan of it. And I, Operation Monster Force is my new favorite toy line. Um, and this just it, to me, this figure is like they were looking at the cool stuff that Monster Force was putting out, and they're like, we need to get in on this. And they're like, how about if we have a Viper that has that's the like one of Crystal Balls that's like a troop builder for Crystal Ball with all this paranormal stuff. And they're like, hey, that's a great idea. And they went with that. And again, like JD said, to use the cliche, they understood the assignment. So they're like, you know, come up with a specialty Viper that fits well with Crystal Ball, fits well with the Monster Force stuff, has some paranormal stuff, and make it cool as fuck. And they're like, we can do that. And they did.
And we got some neat translucent animals and shit out of it. Ghost Viper was a phenomenal figure. Almost made my list, but I got edged out just a bit. Um, but the Ghost Viper, my favorite thing about it is the Viper helmet with the skull painted on the faceplate. And then behind that, the faceplate is the same translucent green. Oh, God, I love that figure.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that Crystal Ball needed army builders until they fucking gave us one. And then I'm like, well, apparently he did need army builders.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely love the figure. I bought several of them because the Walmart close to where I work does not get picked over by the scalpers. So I was able to get a bunch of them. Um, However, when I did get my second one home, all of the animals promptly disappeared as my wife took them. So
at least you waited until you got your second one.
yeah,
Um,
Yeah, I could,
For being a Walmart exclusive, I was just really because I ordered it, you ordered it.
I
I
did.
was happy we got both of ours. I've still never seen it in the store. I'm glad you have. It's really just really an excellent figure.
Yeah.
Um, it's it's when they do new troop classes, they don't fail to impress. I'll tell you that.
My only complaint was that it was kind of pricey. It was on the high side of the deluxe price. I think some of that's due to the tariffs. I think some of it's just due to the fact that they increased the price on the figures across the board, but it made it very expensive to get several of them.
I feel like with all the gear and shit they added, I feel like it was just about the value was just about there. It was more expensive than the typical um deluxe figures because it was more like a 2 pack, and I think that's kind of how they were looking at it. But it's one of those cases where I didn't mind overpaying for it because the results were just that good.
I think they were. And I know a lot of this is, it's not a popular choice. About from the comments that I saw, people were about 50-50, and people were like, I'll just wait till it goes on clearance. I'm like,
Good luck with that.
yeah, I'm not sure this one's gonna go on clearance. I think there's enough people that want this bad enough that they're gonna army build this, and you're gonna have a hard time finding them on clearance. I have yet to see anybody say that they have bought one on clearance yet.
I know eventually Walmart puts a lot of their exclusive stuff through the website. A year or more goes by, and they put it on there for reduced prices, but not always. And this is one I can see that's probably not going to happen. I don't see it happening with this.
I don't either.
Um,
All right, go with your next one there.
all right. I will add they had the mole rat. That one never went on clearance through their website, and that was a troop builder, just like Ghost Viper. That's what tells me. I don't
Same
know.
same with the range viper. I never even saw a range viper in the store.
I I got one of those off the website, and I never saw it in stock again, and I never saw it at the store. But my Walmart really sucks. Um, let's see. My next choice. I've decided to go in order of my list. Snake Eyes version 4, the classified version. I
Yeah.
love that version of Snake Eyes when I was a kid. I was 11 years old when I got that figure. I was enamored with it straight out of the package, even more enamored with it because at the time, the G.I. Joe trading cards from Impel were coming out, and Snake Eyes had a show. That outfit had a card in there that was showcased, and then in the Marvel comics, he switched from the version 3 look to the version 4 look in I think it was issue 116, part one of Destro Must Die, and that design proved to be great from its first appearance in the comic through because when Ninja Force first launched in the comics, he was still wearing that outfit. He hadn't switched over to his ninja, so that outfit had a lot of staying power in the media. He was like that in the Deep cartoon too. So it was a popular design, and I was so glad when they announced it for classified. And when I got the classified version, I was like, holy shit, they did everything right with this one except give him orange swords. I took care of that, but I felt like that was all it was missing. And you don't even buy Snake Eyes very often, but you bought that figure because it was that good.
That is
Um,
the only classified Snake Eyes I own.
I I have one other. I used it for custom fodder, and I wish I had it. But regardless of that hindsight, I would never do anything with this version 4 figure. If I had one complaint, it's that it doesn't have the little Joe Pro piece of tech gear that a lot of the other Joes in the line do. But I custom add my own little Joe Pros to the figures that don't come with them. So it's really that's a minor nitpick on my part because everything else they did with that figure was really good.
It was a great figure. Yeah, that was the first classified Snake Eyes that I I had bought. Um, yeah, it was fantastic.
Oh,
It almost made my list. Quite
yeah,
honestly.
he looks great in all the photos I've seen. I even took photos of him with Scarlett, and man, it's photogenic. It's nicely articulated. It moves. Other than his weird holster, that's more like a flap that doesn't really hold anything. I'm not
Yeah.
sure about that. But I I glued the bottom of it closed so it's more of a holster, and I stuffed a pistol that would fit in there. And I'm like, all right, close enough.
I don't remember what.
Yeah, Snake Eyes version 4, easy choice on my list.
Next on my list is a figure that came out not once, not twice, not even three times, but four times this year. And it was tough to pick uh, because all of the figures for this particular line came out this year, and that's Operation Monster Force.
Ah,
And instead of picking the entire line, because every fucking figure in that line was amazing, we did an unboxing of that the season two stuff on the show. I went with the Eraser, who is
okay.
who is a descendant of the original Invisible Man, a bad guy, works for the Forgotten King. Uh, there were three different convention exclusives, one in a light purple, one in a gray, kind of darkish gray, and then one in complete clear. Oh, Izzy comes to the window and looks down when I'm down here. One in complete clear, and then the the figure. All of those were based on the convention exclusives came out before the original figure did, which is kind of an unusual thing. I don't recall that ever happening in any other particular toy line, but here we are. Uh, and then the paint scheme on the original figure is just the texture of the camouflage is next level. I mean, it's like snake skin. It just
That
there's nothing else like it. It's fucking amazing. All the interchangeable gear that comes with this guy, the interchangeable heads, the translucent parts that come with the original one. It's a phenomenal figure. It just you can just it's interchangeable plate carriers, weapons. It's a it's a day of play in a box in and of itself. And
I,
there's nothing else like it. And it's just phenomenal figure.
I don't have that figure, but I do want that figure. The like the fully painted versions. I'm okay without the translucent exclusives. I love them. They're very cool, but I'm okay without them. But I love the fully painted one. I'm glad you brought up the camouflage because in all the photos I've seen of that figure, I am constantly impressed with how they did that camouflage. I love that pattern. I have never seen anything like that on another toy from any line.
No.
And if they made a couple of troopers wearing matching, or if they made a few of their Monster Force troopers in matching camo like that, I think that'd be okay. Or that camo in a couple of different colors would be awesome as well.
I absolutely love the attention to detail. He's got morale patches on his vest. One of them is the like abbreviation for invisible. So it's there's stuff on like people will put stuff on morale patch that medics will recognize for medical conditions. So one of the things that is the abbreviation for no known drug allergies. And immediately I picked up on that. And I'll bet anybody that's not a medic has no idea what that abbreviation stands for. But I saw that and I'm like, no known drug allergies. That is because I've uh I've seen those morale patches before. And I think that's fucking awesome. So yeah, it'll I used to make my guys like if you have drug allergies, get a morale patch that said no penicillin or something like that. So I know that you're allergic to antibiotics if I gotta treat you and you're unconscious. So
That would suck to be allergic to.
uh bl-
Those are helpful.
yeah, blood types is another common morale patch. But I was kind of like I always made people stay away from those unless they knew 100% that's what their blood type was, because you get the wrong type of blood and it's a bad day. So it just he's got a pair of trauma shears that are wedged in his one of his plate carriers, and I'm like, that's I just
Doesn't he have the British flag painted on his flak vest too, which is
yep.
really a nice detail?
Yeah, one of his morale patches is the British flag, and it's like I had a American flag on my plate carrier when I was in Ukraine. So it's like it's just a little fucking, and I had a pair of trauma shears wedged down in my plate carrier when I was in Afghanistan. It's those little things that are like somebody, whoever put this together has worn this gear before and knows what this stuff is and knows what it means. And I, as a customizer of highly detailed, as accurate as I can make them customs, realistic military customs, I absolutely appreciate and love the detail that these guys have put into these figures. And the eraser is just the cream on the crop of all of those figures. It was tough to pick just one, but with all of the gear, the camo, and then the three different translucent versions, translucent figures are always going to be at the top of my list. The eraser is definitely, and I have all four versions of him. The eraser is definitely probably would be my number one pick for the year. Oh, there's Alice.
Hi, Ellis.
She heard Uncle JD talking.
Hi, Buffy. Um, my turn.
Yep.
All right. So next on my list, uh, we're gonna go with the first non-Joe choice. Um, although it's related-ish. It's the Wolf Trooper from Skeletron. Um,
Oh, nice.
I
Wow.
I love this figure. I bought the pilot kit too, so I could get the extra heads and the helmet. But I love this figure. I mean, I'm sure everybody's seen it, but I've got it as Blood Wolf, which is
And that's
which is the
the 1/12 scale version of it?
yeah
Yeah.
yeah
Okay.
um yeah. He's got a he's got a I love the gear he came with, but right now he has a gridiron aliens rifle because my son was playing with the figure and he likes to switch the weapons out. I just told him make sure it doesn't get lost, but yeah, he likes this scale of toys and he really likes this Red Wolf too. So but yeah, I've got him as Blood Wolf, which was with the original um Robo Skull vehicle. Blood Wolf was the included pilot, so I decided that I wanted mine to be uh, Blood Wolf too. But I'm like, no, I might. Uh, I've mixed it up. All the parts are. I mean, the interchangeable parts are nice. I've got a second one I haven't opened yet, but the although I might have to if Little Man keeps absconding with this one to play with it with the Marvel Legends. So, um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I love this figure. It goes well with all the other 112 toy lines. I've had him get into fights with Flint, as is customary. Flint is usually the first guy to fight my bad guys when I get them, because it's what he does best. And I really they Skeletron makes some high quality products, and this Wolf Trooper was well worth the wait. Um, I really, I really should have ordered the 6-inch Skeletron, which I didn't do. The actual Skeletron itself, which seems really dumb, like an oversight on my part, and
Yeah.
I should really rectify that and buy that when it comes out
I'm
because
buying it the second it comes out. The second they announce that they have either a pre-order or they have them in stock, I am buying that one.
yeah, that's really just what a phenomenal piece that looks like too. But if it's built to the same quality that this Red Wolf is, or this Wolf Trooper, people are going to go nuts. I hope it's a long running line, and but I had to include it on my list. I love this figure, um, and I've seen pictures of other people, sharing this stuff with their kids, and I just because Blake is not interested in GI Joe at all, which is fine. But I love that he found one of their figures that wasn't a joke, but he's like, it's related in a way. But he didn't. Yeah, he just went with it. So yeah, he hasn't stolen any of my Joes. Just that guy and one of the customs that I made. But he's yeah, he's really taken to this scale of toy. So I'm like, all right, well, this is awesome. So
Nice. For my next one, I went with a not it's an acquisition of sorts. So clearly one of the things that I like to do is customize.
no
Everything,
shit.
yeah, everything in this room that you can see here is a custom that I have made. Uh including the pictures and the few carded figures that are in blisters behind me here. All of those are autographed by the actors that portrayed those characters. And that is my uh, pick for my next pick was I had a pretty good year for convention runs. I went to Denver Comic Con. My wife took the days off, and we went to all 4 days. I did one day of Colorado Springs Comic Con on the slow day, so there was hardly anybody there. Last time I went to Colorado Springs Comic Con, it sucked because it was assholes to elbows and you couldn't even breathe, let alone move. And I went to Colorado Horror Con. Um, so at Denver Comic Con this year, I was able to meet Brendan Fraser from The Mummy. I got a photo op and he signed my figure. I met Alan Tudyk, got a photo, and he signed my figure. He absolutely loved it. And
Not many celebrities I get jealous of other people meeting, but Alan Tudyk is. I'd really love to talk to him someday.
yeah, he was fantastic. I set that down. And he like did a double take, and he's like, "Oh, this is fantastic!" And he was like holding it up and let Emily take a couple pictures of him with the figure, and he's just like,
That guy's awesome.
yeah, he thought it was fantastic. I showed Brendan Fraser my figure. I'm like, just so you know, I made this myself. The head is 3D printed. It's a custom. The body is from a friend of mine has designed the figure. I did all the graphic art. I'm like, I made this, and he's like, you did not. I'm like, I did, and he was super cool. Bruce, I met Bruce Campbell. I got a picture with him a couple years ago at Colorado Springs Comic Con, but couldn't get the figure autographed at the time. He was there this year, so I got that autographed.
You didn't have any like celebrity cancellations this year because you did. I think you usually do have at least one cancellation that happens, but
I've only had
but
one that's canceled that I
oh, that's right. It was John Bernthal because
was.
that could have helped. But um, so
Uh,
yeah, you didn't have any cancellations, so that's nice too.
yeah, at Colorado Springs Comic Con, I met Michael Ironside, who's been in just a shit ton of 80s movies. I did his character from Top Gun, and he's he's looking, he's like, "Are you?" He's like, "Is this for me?" And I'm like, "Nope." And he's like, "Are you selling these here?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." And he's like, "You should be." And he was quizzing me on the he's like, if you're a true fan, you can tell me what the character's name was, and I was able to rattle off the character's name, and he was super cool. Did a photo op with him, and then at Colorado Horror Con, I was able to meet Michael Behan, who was um, in Aliens and the original Terminator.
Corporal Hicks and Kyle Reese,
Yep.
two pivotal characters from sci-fi.
Yep. Tombstone, The Rock, Navy SEALs. I mean, he's been in a shit ton of
Hi, Izzy.
Hi Isabel. Been in a shit ton of 80s movies. So I did a Kyle Reese and got that autographed and did the photo op with him. So I had a really fun year hitting the conventions and getting my figures autographed. So that is one of my top picks. Top acquisitions was all of the my customs that I got autographed this year.
All right, fair enough. Um, I did meet a couple of celebrities. I didn't get any autographs, but I met Q. He was nice, but not as friendly as I think I was anticipating him being. And I kind of, it's my fault. I had a hope. It wasn't an expectation. It was a hope that he was going to be a little more talkative. But I'm like, might have shit going on. Maybe he wasn't feeling well. Who knows? But and then I met Rob Paulson, who does a lot of cartoon voices like Animaniacs, Pinky in the Brain. But yeah, I don't get any autographs. Sean did. He got a couple autographs of his
Yeah.
custom from the actors. But when I see the pictures of these customs that you make, my first question is always, what did the celebrity say? Because I love hearing their reactions to these things. Because
Yes.
these these celebrities, they like when the fans make shit, and they always they when it's something personal like that, and I'm always fascinated when you get these autographs, and I'm still gonna steal the Colson one someday. Clark Gregg, he's another one I'm jealous that you got to meet, but I'll have that figure someday.
Every last one that I've met has had a um unique take on they've all said something interesting. Patrick Warburton was the first custom I got that autographed uh from when he was doing voice acting for Venture Brothers, and he in his Patrick Warburton voice said that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. I need a picture. And he took a picture of me with the figure. Uh, Adam Savage absolutely loved the figure that I did of him. Clark Gregg, when I set it down, he's like, "Where did you get this?" And I'm like, "I made that." And he's like, "Oh, that's why I haven't seen it before." Uh, Eccleston, I did a Doctor Who, and he did a double take, and he's like, "I appreciate that you gave me some nice pecs." The Marauder figure, so he was he liked that. Charlie Hunnam from Sons of Anarchy. I showed
Oh, he
him.
drooled all over it and
Oh
then
yeah,
wrote the coolest inscription autograph I've ever seen.
yeah. He picked it. He's picked it up and was showing it to people around. He's like, "This. He made this." And then yeah, he wrote this huge inscription on it for me and just went to town. And yeah, so it is definitely but by far one of my favorite parts of this particular hobby is getting my work autographed. So I'm looking forward to next year. Don't know. Haven't seen they haven't started doing announcements for guests yet, but definitely looking forward to seeing who's going to be hitting the conventions this year to see if there's anybody that I'm going to get autographs from this year or in 2026, I
What
mean.
do you think the odds are that Patrick Stewart won't be one of them? But I know every year you wish he would be. Um,
Yeah, and at at this point I wouldn't I personally wouldn't get his autograph. I would let Emily get hers because
oh, well, yeah.
she has my wife has the Playmates figures, and she has one autographed by almost every crew member. She doesn't have one by Patrick Stewart. She doesn't have one by Marina Sirtis. Those are the only ones she doesn't have autographed.
um, yeah. He's one of those. He'd be cool as shit. But you're right. You'd have to see the autograph to Emily, but it would you'd get to talk to him at least. That would be
Yeah.
awesome. But he's busy enough that maybe conventions aren't his thing. I don't know.
think he's
Maybe something.
probably getting to that age. He's getting up there in age too. I think he might
Uh,
be too old doing the convention circuits because
I
I'd seen
talked
some.
to William Shatner about that. He just keeps kicking.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and he
I just
goes to
hope
a
they're
bunch
not
of
doing.
conventions.
I just hope they
Um,
don't do to him what they were doing with Stan Lee up because they were making Stan Lee doing conventions, and there was some behind the scenes stuff that I'd seen recently where they were making him do some of this stuff, and he didn't want to do it, but he did it anyway.
oh, that sucks.
I mean, it bordered on elder abuse, and it's
Yeah,
like,
because he was always the PR guy.
yeah,
So if he was too tired to do it, that says a lot.
yeah.
Um,
Well, and he was 90 something too. But I mean, William Shatner's up there too. But William Shatner was at least one or two of the conventions that I went to this year.
yeah, because I saw him at one back in 2018. I didn't meet him, but I walked like right by him, and dude looked so tired. He had like his entourage with him, and his face was all red, and he was sweating. And I'm like, he must just be thinking, oh my god, I love conventions, but get me the fuck out of here. This is exhausting. That's just my guess. Um,
Yeah, I mean, he's a million years old. Who can blame him? But there you go. So it was a great year for conventions. Looking forward to next year. Um, so we'll see.
my next choice, um, actually, I just got this figure the other day. There's an O-ring, a high quality O-ring toy line called Delta 17 that I've only gotten a couple of figures from, but I got the most interesting ones, and they had a sale for Christmas.
Oh man,
Um,
I haven't gotten
so
any of those yet.
yeah, they had a sale for Christmas through, I think, through New Year's. Might still be happening where the figures are a couple bucks off. So I'm like, you know what? If I'm ever going to get one, I because it's just sort of kept falling through the cracks. But I got them the other day, and uh, she pushed out something off my list. But Death Sparrow, she's one of the bad guys from the bad guy faction, and my God, this camera sucks. But she is phenomenal, and I got her to eventually go with um, the Operation Longbow stuff
Ah, yes,
um, and the other enemy factions that we've got. I mean, like, there'll be some crossover with Joe, with her too initially, but at some point. But yeah, I definitely wanted her to go with my Operation Longbow stuff. It's a very high quality figure. It's nice to have another Russian in the mix. She's a bad guy this time. I feel like her and the October Guard probably not get along so well. And I like the idea of her being a foil for them. But also, yeah, running um, with you know we've gotten uh, we've gotten a lot of great O-ring, like the O-ring style toys are definitely having a renaissance right now,
they are.
and she will go very well running with the rest of Delta 17 if you have it, or or the the Russian special ops from Operation Longbow, or the Orthros organization, the enemy organization from Operation Recall. As far as I can tell, these figures are built to the same quality as they are or will be, and I really recommend this line. I think before, if the sale's still going, I think there might be a couple more that I'm gonna have to. I think I'm actually gonna have to consider because I'm like, man, these are really good. They're high, they're well done figures, and honestly, you don't in the Joe mythos, you do have female villains, um, besides the Baroness, but not a lot with toys. So it's really nice to get a figure like this where she she's in the classic style, and she fits in with whichever figures you want to use it with. I'm really impressed by this line.
The sale is still on. There's one or two that I would like to pick up, so I will probably have to do something later today. But yeah,
So
I don't have the Delta 17 stuff. Um, I think they did a Kickstarter a couple to get this line
they
going.
did. I think the line started with a Kickstarter, and then they had another wave that came out um, that wasn't kickstarted. But I think they've got more in the works that probably will be a Kickstarter. Like a lot of toy lines, I think they're gonna use the Kickstarters to keep going and turn around and fund later figure. That's what I feel like I've read. And oh yeah, I want to mention the backpack she comes with feels feels like a vintage Joe backpack. It fits on vintage Joe figures, but it's got like a one of those stick grenades from
Yeah.
like World War II, and I can't explain why I'm so tickled with that detail, but ever since I watched Saving Private Ryan, I've been fascinated by those, and I love that this figure has one of those sculpted to the backpack. It's a detail that really doesn't mean much, but I'm tickled by it.
Yeah,
But
there is
yeah,
still
this
on. I don't have any of those figures yet. I don't know, hadn't gotten around to it, but I think I will probably pick up a couple
um
before the sale goes
yeah,
in.
I should. It's an AK, but it's got like an ammo drum, and um, I I really feel like there's more figures in my collection that are going to need those weapons. But as long as that's the only one I've got. She's the only one that's going to use it. Um, but yeah, so Death Sparrow, I'm impressed. She's she's yeah, she's giving me a lot of creative ideas. So yeah,
Nice. Um, JD isn't wrong about O-ring Renaissance. The next figure on my list is also an O-ring figure.
wait, holy shit, what? Um,
Uh, and it's love it or hate it. I absolutely love what Super 7 is doing with their their more their higher end O-ring figures on the GI Joe line. The 5 points of articulation, the reaction plus line. The reaction figures, I bought I've bought one of those figures. I bought Raven, which was the named female Strato Viper from the cartoon. Um, just because there's nothing else like it's a 5 points of
and
articulation figure. I don't like 5 points of articulation figure. This is 2025. There is no call for T crotches and 5 points of articulations in a
no
figure.
shit, yeah, definitely.
So I absolutely detest the reaction line, but the reaction plus line are very nicely done.
Yes, yes, they
O-ring.
are.
So my next pick for top figures for 2025 is the Reaction Plus Fatal Fluffy, which
Oh fuck.
was a figure based on a character that was in sorry, the G.I. Joe cartoon. And
The Pyramid of Darkness
Pyramid.
miniseries.
Yep.
Um, I did not see you having anything from Super 7 on your list coming. That was a total shock. But as soon as you said the Fatal Fluffy, I one realized that I was still reeling from the trauma of missing out on that figure, not being able to get one. So I think I blocked it out of my mind that that existed out of sheer green eyed jealousy. But then when you actually said it, I was just like, oh, here comes my trauma again. Thanks, bro. I'm glad you could help.
I'm
Um,
here for you.
what a phenomenal looking figure that I am so pissed that I did not pre-order. I did not, should have expected to sell out. I didn't. I'm so pissed I missed that one.
Yeah, I jumped on that the second either the pre-orders went live or they went live in the store. I don't remember which one it was. I think it was live in the store. I don't think they did pre-orders on this. Um, I think it was you got them when they went in stock, and if you didn't get one right then you got
because
were screwed, and because
I didn't.
I think they did show up at some Targets. I think I'd seen people say that they had found some at retail, but I
Not
don't.
mine.
My Target here has sucked for years. I've just stopped going entirely. If I can't get it online, I take that back. I did try and hunt down the Psylocke Thanos 2-pack for Marvel Legends this year and missed that. And that just pretty much cemented the fact that I absolutely hate Target now and have for years. So I refuse to go there for toy hunting when I fucking hate exclusives. Um, but I I knew when they were going to drop they had announced when they were going to drop the when the figure was going to go live in the store, and I sat down with my computer and waited, and I bought two of them when they dropped, and I got lucky and I got the Fatal Fluffy, and it is a fantastic figure. This is one of the things I absolutely love about what Super 7 is doing is the all the original vintage GI Joe figures were essentially the same size, regardless of how big they were supposed to be. There are a couple very rare exceptions to that, but for the most part, they are all the same size, which is fine when you're a kid growing up. But as an adult, sure would be nice to have a figure bigger when it's supposed to be a bigger figure. And that is what I like about what Reaction Plus is. They are doing the bigger characters have bigger figures. Like the Ramar is a big, beefy, bulky figure. And
Yeah. Yeah, because the Fatal Fluffies post transformation, because they start out as little cute little bastards.
right.
Little, they're like possums or something, but they're bipedal possums. But once they transform, they're like Wookiee size.
Yeah.
So the fact that that Super 7 decided to make it a substantially taller figure was a really nice detail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So I really, really, really am happy that I got those figures. I like I said, I love what Reaction Plus is doing. They're making figures that haven't had figures before or have had very few figures before. And I
I'm
really,
okay with the number of repaints they're doing simply because they also, alongside them, keep putting out figures that have never been made or
yeah,
that people have been wishing for a Fatal Fluffy since like 1985. The Reaction series or Super 7 Reaction Plus, they made it happen. Um, so yeah, they do a bunch of repaints, but I feel they're skippable because they're making ones that aren't repaints and
yeah.
they're well worth it.
And
Oh,
I don't
yeah.
care what anybody says. There is a strong group of people that want those figures in that sculpt, and I am one of them. And I've picked up several of the Reaction Plus figures.
Me too. I mean, I don't buy them all, but I've got at least half of all of them. I don't have Mara yet, but I will. Um,
Mine, my Mara is in my pile of loot.
uh,
I was not going to miss Mara. Um, she got into my pile of loot the day after I shipped my last order for the year.
well, there you go. Um,
So I hit ship, and then the next day it's like, oh hey, Mara's in. I'm like, God damn it, you couldn't have gotten that a day earlier so I could have shipped
well,
the rest of my
yeah,
stuff.
I was gonna say you were eager for Mask. It's understandable.
Yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
and
I'm
Fatal Fluffy's a good choice.
yeah, I'm very
Really good choice.
to see what's going to happen with the Reaction Plus stuff going forward. All right, go with your next one then.
Um, I have changed up the order on my list, so let me see what's next. Um. All right, so back to classified for my next one. I wanted to get some separation between us mentioning him earlier, but classified crystal ball. I am one of 3 or 4 fans the world over who liked Crystal Ball back in 1987, and I still and I still maintain that he was a much cooler character. But once I got on the internet, like I always thought he was a cool character. I was 7 when I got the figure, and I loved it from the beginning. Then I got online years later, and I discovered, wait, nobody else likes Crystal Ball. And eventually, I met through the forums. I met a couple of other people that like Crystal Ball, but we were still a very small niche, and there's there was there was no additional audience gained from that crappy FSS figure the club did. Now IDW put him in GI Joe comics for a while, so I think that gained him another 3 or 4 fans, but there were still only 7 or 8 of us the world over until last year when they name only announced Crystal Ball coming to classified, and then this year when they revealed the figure, and then suddenly the number of Crystal Ball fans uh like grew exponentially. I think it came in multiples of 8 every time I would see another person saying, "Oh, I got to pre-order that." For 36 years, you people did nothing but complain about how terrible Crystal Ball was and how dumb all the Cobras from 1987 were, with a few exceptions. But so I feel like a very long lifetime of being a Crystal Ball fan was paid off beautifully this year when not only not only did they do a good job with the figure itself, they went absolutely nuts figuring out, let's see what made him unique amongst the rest of Cobra, and let's expand on that um in by um like they, because he was a Cobra hypnotist. That's what it said on this file card. He had a real creepy backstory.
Yes.
He was the 7th son of a Romanian gypsy, and and a woman from, I think, Bangor, Maine, which is where Stephen King's from,
Yep.
which lends credence to the theory that he wrote the file card for Crystal Ball. Everything about that file card screams that he probably did. And then the classified version comes out, brings all of that creepiness front and center,
Yes.
brings the original card art um, resemblance to Vincent Price. It maintains that and expands on it. This thing looks just like a Halloween version of Vincent Price. It's amazing. I really want the thing to talk and say the Thriller speech to me, because it's really, they did all of that so well, and they gave him all kinds of these cool eldritch glow in the dark
Yeah.
accessories. He has like an alternate head where he looks like Cthulhu, and then he's got like a little skull with a crystal ball, or with a no, I mean, he's got a crystal ball that looks amazing, but then he's got like this little handheld skull that I don't know if it's a blunt weapon or what the hell it is, but he's got one hand that's like metal claws. And I'm like a glove, like a gauntlet with metal claws. He's not a mutant, but they just they did everything with this figure that that yeah, it's clear to me that who there were people working on the classified line that it's always clear to me that these people grew up as fans of these, especially these more obscure characters, and now they're like, "Ooh, let's take this crazy obscure figure and let's just go hog wild because we can." And they literally created a whole a whole new generation of Crystal Ball fans with people that were in their 40s. So
Yeah.
Crystal Ball makes my list simply because they didn't have to do them in classified 5 years ago when I made my first list. I never would have imagined Crystal Ball ever getting this kind of and to get like the 5-star treatment, and then they decide let's expand even further and give him his very own troopers to command. That was on nobody's bingo card, including me.
Yeah.
I always considered him to be loyal to Cobra, but an independent operator. Like he had like a wide berth. He had his own little weird Cobra weirdness and experiments and magic stuff that he could do, but he was mostly the hypnotist. I never saw him having a whole division of troopers to command, but I love that crystal ball. So here he is on my list of 10 this year. Give me a
That's one
second.
of the things that I have found that I absolutely love what they're doing with the classified line on some of the, especially the more esoteric characters, is they're taking what was cool about the figure based off of the concepts of the figure and the information contained in the original file cards and going and using that for the template for the figure. And that is one, and reimagining it. And that's one of the favorite things that I like to do as a customizer is take some of the figures that I don't think they got a fair shake as figures, but I really like the characterization and try and update those. And I've done a number of customs like that. And those are usually my more popular customs is when I've taken those esoteric characters that there are some some definitely hardcore fans out there that love that character and reimagine that, and then those people see this and then they're like, oh, that's a fantastic take on that particular character. And all the other fans that either had it as a kid or skipped it as a kid, and they're like, if he'd have looked like this when I was a kid, I'd have bought the shit out of that. And Crystal Ball is one of those that I've done that I took the information that was on the file card and built my figure around that. And
And you made it really creepy
yes,
in a lot of different ways than it was creepy with the Hasbro version
yeah.
with the wraps around the eyes. I'm like, well, that's creepy to begin with.
And
Um,
and to me, that's like, okay, that's one of the things that makes me wonder if the guys doing the designs for that are looking at social media and they're like, hey, here's an idea. We should do that. We should reimagine some of these characters. Here, look at
yeah,
the
because honestly, he was like a gypsy magic guy as the hypnotist with the hypno shield and stuff. But I never saw I'd never seen anything that was like eldritch magic, like Cthulhu magician type guy. I've never seen anything like that in any. But I think I have seen custom in social media stuff
yeah.
that
I
use
wasn't
it, and like
yeah,
you brought out the really creepy fortune telling aspects of him, and
yeah. I
but
worked some of
that
the
is
elements into
that's
my
what
custom.
tells me they're definitely looking at social media and they're like, oh, these other people had cool ideas about crystal ball like we probably did in our heads as kids and
Yeah.
good stuff.
But it's one of the I that this was a hard figure to get. Uh it went up for pre-order for on it was a Walmart exclusive. It went up for pre-order. For some reason, Walmart canceled most of the pre-orders for this particular figure the first time around.
In
So
fact, I missed that first pre-order.
yeah,
I
so
missed it because I was like, I can't get it. And then you
most
had them canceled, and I'm like, fuck, maybe it's okay. I
most
couldn't get it.
people didn't get it from that first pre-order. And then eventually it went up for pre-order again. A lot of people are like, no, fooled me once, shame on me, fooled me twice, shame on you. So they didn't pre-order it. I'm like, fuck it, I really want this figure. I pre-ordered it. I got it. It's in my collection. I think the Walmart here by work has gotten them in because I think I do recall seeing him on the shelf there. Um, but it's not a particularly easy figure to come by again because it's a Walmart exclusive and had the trouble with the pre-order. But yeah, it's a phenomenal reimagination of what was a very lackluster figure originally that had a really interesting backstory.
Yeah, I always loved the design, and I was a sucker when I was a kid for lenticular or anything, so I was in for that. But he was he was there were things about the figure that were kind of bland. His color scheme was a little left a lot to be desired. Basically, in retrospect, I understood why so many fans were like put like kids even my age that were put off by him and didn't think he fit with Cobra or did. There were people that saw him as a dreadnought, and I never saw him that way, but I totally understood that. Um, but it was at the same time because I got mine through the second pre-order and didn't get canceled. And I finally saw it one time, but I had to go out of state. I went to Pennsylvania for a convention in September. That's where I saw Crystal Ball. So had my pre-order not come through, I would have ended up having to get him at a Walmart in Pennsylvania. But they he was one that I got why he had a limited fan base, once I was on the internet, but I was felt it was unjustified. And I guess somebody working at Hasbro agreed and they're like, hey, let's get this guy some new fans.
Yeah.
And that's what they did.
For my next figure, I went with one of the Hyatt Toys G.I. Joe figures.
Ah,
I went with the Hyatt Toy Cobra Viper. Um,
such a nice figure.
I had the original Cobra Viper when I was a kid. I thought it was I'd I've been collecting G.I. Joe since '83, so I missed the original Cobra Troopers, but um my I think my grandmother picked up the Cobra Trooper and Cobra Officer for me, so I did have those in my collection. Um, and then when I got the Cobra Viper, I'm like, this guy is so much better than the standard Cobra Trooper and Cobra Officer that those figures just fell away. And the Cobra Viper was my new like bottom level Cobra Trooper. And I absolutely loved that figure as a kid. I loved the weapon, the fact that he came with a backpack, the fact that he had a helmet, and it was a fun figure to play with. And they've repainted that figure so many times over the years. And most of those repaints are fantastic repaints, actually. They're It's hard to do something bad with that sculpt. It is fantastic. And then when they redid it, when Classified touched on it the first time, the it came out in the Cobra Island series. I was not impressed with that figure in any way, shape, or form.
I
Then
thought it was a decent ish update because they've had a few like New Sculpt era had a new sculpt Viper, and it too was a decent attempt, but I don't think either of them captured the magic of the original.
no,
Um,
but then the Classifying went back and did it did another update of it, and that's one of the figures that came out. I think it was on the retro card, plus it
yeah,
came out in
yeah.
the Hiss Fire Team set, and I did pick up the Hiss Fire and the Cobra Viper 3-pack, which contains their homage to one of my favorite repaints of the Cobra Viper, which was the muted grays. So with the maroon accents. I'm like I kind of need that, and if I want to have that figure, I got to buy the 3-pack, and I absolutely wanted the Fire Team set, so I picked that up, and um, I think it's just the 3-pack of Vipers. I don't think there's Was there a Viper? I don't remember. I don't think there was a Viper in the.
I don't have the 788 fire team either, so I don't. Well, I know there was a range Viper. I don't know what else was in that
There's a
set,
Range
but there.
Viper, a Techno Viper, and I think it was just like a Cobra officer or something. So I don't know that there was a Viper in that set, but there definitely was in that 3 pack because I wanted that specific one, and they had kind of fixed the problems that I didn't like with the original classified Viper. And then Hiya Toys basically took that and said, let's make a really awesome 4-inch figure of that particular figure. And they did a phenomenal job. The articulation's amazing, the paint apps are amazing, the detail is off the charts, the weapons that it comes with are fantastic. The it's an amazing figure. It's fun to play with. It feels solid, it feels sturdy, it doesn't feel like it's gonna break. I'm always a little hesitant with the Hiya Toy stuff because I've had some bad Hiya Toy figures over the years, but this one is top-notch quality and I absolutely love it. And I'm like, this is a absolute fun figure to play with.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think they took some design liberties. They didn't. A lot of the higher stuff is like the classified stuff, but shrunk down, maybe
Yeah.
modified a little bit. But some of the figures have taken a few liberties on it. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Viper was one of them because it's got like different vests. It doesn't have a vintage style
Right.
vest, and it has the arm guards, but I don't think they're vintage style. I think they're different. And if I'm if I'm thinking of the right figure, I remember reacting saying, you know what, Classified should follow suit on this Viper because they went more retro for the retro.
Yeah.
But I would like to see a more sleek, updated one that's maybe more along the line. Because I have a feeling Hiya Toys uses designs from Hasbro, so that might be a different Viper that they were maybe considering making and then didn't move forward. But I would kind of like to see them revisit that idea now and give us like a badass classified version of the 4-inch Hiya Toys figure because I think that design is it's badass.
It really is. And of all of the Hiya Toys figures that I had, this is not one that I would have thought would have made my top 10 acquisitions of the year list, but it was just that good. I mean, it just there was just like this is a fantastic action figure. This is a fun toy. This is everything about this is phenomenal. And that's why it's made my list for this year.
Good choice. Okay. My next one is from a toy line that I can't remember the name of, made by a company that I can't remember the name of, but I saw this figure a couple of years ago. I saw pictures of it as a pre-order, and then I saw it on Big Bad Toy Store and Amazon later from a toy line that I didn't recognize, but I decided I needed it. One, because it was badass. Two, because my multiversal Tiger Force assault team needed him because he's like a big anthropomorphic tiger. But I was never gonna pay the cost of it. No way. But then early this year, I made a trade with Monty, and he sent me this figure. Its name is Blade Master Wang, and god damn, I love this figure. Uh, he's got he's got the realistic tiger face. He's got realistic proportioned feet, claws. He just happens to be wearing like samurai clothes. I fucking love this figure. This is one that I wanted to show it off to the camera just to see, show how the size of this thing. Damn it, doing that thing that the auto scaling, but like the scale of this guy
Huge.
next to classified, like he's an
Yeah,
impressive size.
he is huge.
Yeah, him and Hulk can go toe to toe, or toe to claw at this point, I guess. But I do hope you'll drop some high resolution pictures of him.
Yeah, I'll see if I can
Um,
get it.
I
I'll
just
who makes it.
yeah, I'll look up the name of the line, but forgot to before this, but I just I got it in. Like I said, I got it in a trade because I never would have actually let myself pay as much as it cost. But I mean, not to say it wouldn't be worth it. Lots of accessories. Holy
Hang on a
shit!
second. Hang on, hang on.
But
All right.
but
Sorry. Work call. I had to take it. So
but yeah, my next yeah, so the next on my list, because I it's a great toy, well worth the price, but I'm cheap, so I wouldn't pay the asking price. But when I got a trade offer, I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I need that figure. No, that's fine. I was listing off my random additions to Tiger Force. Rob Van Dam. That was the name of the wrestler. Basically, the wrestler, the onesie that he wrestles in has a tiger and tiger stripes. So I'm like, you know what? Throwing him in with Tiger Force. But Blade Master Wang, he's basically the ancient wise man that also kicks a lot of ass in Tiger Force. But it, it's it's such an impressive figure. It's like when I look at a figure, I'm like, no, that's art. It is art. Um, it's a prestige figure that it does remind me why I don't go for higher end figures because there's a lot of detail and they come with a lot of accessories. And I don't like to mess with the fig. I like to take the accessories that I like the best and put them on, like the
yeah.
hands and whatever for different poses. Um, and so there's a lot of extra stuff that doesn't get used, and I feel kind of bad about that. But and I'm like, but see, that would happen if I bought a lot of higher end things. But like, there's a few that every once in a while catch my. But this one just happened to, I a lot of ones like Mythic Legions, Cosmic Legions, that stuff is great.
Oh yeah.
But I have one that I bought for a custom, but I will not let myself go down that rabbit hole. But there's a couple that I'm just like, they catch my eye, and I'm like, I tell you what, if somebody offered me a trade for one of those, I'd happily take. So when this guy came up, I'm like, all right, fuck it, I need it. But
Yeah.
uh, yeah, there's definitely the most random uh addition to my list, but and some things just you get it and it's a standalone, and it's like I never need to own anything else from this line. I'm very happy with this guy.
My next addition to my next acquisition, top 10 acquisition for this list is also a very random addition as well. I went with the Acid Rain NX figure Anubis, and it is basically, if you've ever seen the movie Stargate,
Ah, okay.
it's basically that character
Oh
from,
fuck yeah.
yeah.
Um
So I mean
um
it's tall, it's 1/18 scale. It's Acid Rain. Acid Rain did start making 1/12 scale stuff this year. It looks pretty nice, but I stopped collecting Acid Rain stuff because it started getting really expensive. And this was even way before tariffs. So it's like I was buying it all when it came out, and then it's like I just can't keep up with it. And then I've not kept up with the line over the years. But I was doing just a random, every once in a while, I'll just do a random eBay search for 1/18 scale figures just to see what comes up. Just a lot of times to see if there's something in I need for my collection that I don't have, or to look for ideas for customs. And I saw this figure and I'm like, oh, that would be a phenomenal figure to have unaltered in my 1/18 scale Monster Force stuff. So I got him to go with the 1/18 scale Monster Force stuff. And the detailing is phenomenal. The paint apps are fantastic. It looks like it was the character straight out of the Stargate movie, and it works phenomenal with my 1/18 scale Monster Force figures.
I have never owned anything from Acid Rain, but they do make some cool stuff. I'm not a big post apocalyptic guy, but they got a whole toy line full of that, and it's awesome. So
Post-apocalyptic stuff is definitely one of my niche things that I
it
absolutely.
is. It is. I like the idea of it, but I very rarely feel the need to like. I don't necessarily need toys of it. You know, I kind of like it if I'm watching movies, but you like it for both. I, but their post apocalypse, like some of that stuff is it's even in a vacuum. I'm like, oh, that's fucking cool. But it's if you're gonna do post apocalyptic themed toys, then I feel like that's the way to do it. I feel like they hit that in a way that it could appeal to me too. And but I've never owned anything by them. But I did see the 1/12 stuff, and it does look nice. But I refuse to even check out the price, let alone investigate further. Because again, there's rabbit holes I'm not going to allow myself to walk near, and that is another one that nope, I'm just going to avoid that. I'm going to take the long way around, like the because if I go down that rabbit hole, it's going to basically turn into less rabbit hole and more. It's going to be like Mountain Doom for me,
Yeah.
the volcano that eats me, and I don't need that. So
I was
I live vicariously through people who own it. But now I'm curious about this ass brain choice of yours because
and
it
I was
sounds awesome.
really hoping for a rabbit hole with this because I'm like I would really like to have some like post-apocalyptic high-tech Egyptian stuff to go with.
That's yeah, I love that stuff, and
But
I haven't seen Stargate in
yeah,
years. Maybe 15 years, but I loved it then. I probably still would. Monty just watched it for the first time. He liked it.
but
Sean's Grogan, he's a big fan. So I have to wonder if I missed the post about the Anubis because I wasn't paying attention, or if he didn't
I
post it. But
I don't
now I want to see it. It's very cool
I
sounding.
did post it because Panama and I talked about it because I think Panama has the figure too.
Uh, uh,
Because I was
does it make do you wish that they'd make it in a 1/12 scale so you could have it in the 1/12 scale? Is it
Yeah,
that
I don't
nice?
say that often, but I absolutely would buy this if it was 1/12 scale to have with
Cool.
the rest of my Monster Force stuff.
You know,
And you were talking about Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions, and I've got a couple of those pre-order to just for the monster to go
are
with.
they like Egypt stuff? I was gonna say I think they
There's
make some
one
Egypt stuff.
there's one Egypt style and there's one Frankenstein's monster
Ah,
that I've
okay,
got
I
pre-ordered.
definitely need those.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh, but
yeah, nice stuff.
I was disappointed to see this was pretty much just a standalone figure. It wasn't part of a set. It wasn't part of a line. It was
They
just
didn't even make a Horus to go with it. That's
um,
sad.
yeah,
Um,
I was really hoping for some of the other Egyptian gods in the same kind of vein as the Stargate stuff to go with it, but no, just standalone figure.
that's kind of weird that it's a standalone. Like that's what the hell led to that weird choice? Was
I
it an experiment they didn't like the results of,
don't
or
I saw it on eBay and then got on Big Bad Toy Store to see if they still had it, and they had it, and it was I think they had it on sale when I bought it. It flew under just about everybody's radar.
I guess so? Yeah, maybe if it was out there in a way people noticed it, it would become popular, and then they would make follow-ups like the bird-headed guy Horus.
Yeah.
He. If you're gonna have Anubis, you kind of have to have Horus, even in Stargate rules. But they you always see those statues across
Yeah.
the way from each other. So it's really weird that they only made that one release. It seems like a goofy oversight to me.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Weird choice.
I would have bought two or three, four different figures from that particular line just to go with my stuff, my Monster Force stuff, but
Yeah.
nah,
Huh.
standalone thing. I've there you can find them for a reasonable price on eBay. I don't know if Big Bad Toy Store still has them, but they did last time I looked because I was contemplating getting a second one for a custom, but I'm like there's not a lot that I would do to it I mean, because the paint apps are fantastic. There's not a lot I could add to it that's not that it doesn't already have. I'm like, I really
Well,
can't make it better. And I don't say that very often. The
Well, but you could make it different, like Battle Core Anubis, dude, neon colors.
no,
No, all right, fine.
no,
That's the only idea I had.
yeah, no,
And that would be
Monster
absurd.
Force stuff. Yeah, it's got to go with the Monster Force stuff, and it
Uh,
doesn't. So yeah, I just it was one of those random things that I'm like, huh, I need one of those. I'll have one. And it showed up, and I'm like, this is fantastic. It's just one of the random additions to this year's list.
um, nice. Um, yeah, I'm gonna have to find a picture of that. That sounds awesome. Although it also makes me think I'm glad that there's only one of them because now I don't feel any pressure to buy it. Uh, because I like Egypt stuff. All right, let's see. Uh, okay, my next choice.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Um, uh, okay. All right, my next one. She-Ra. Very recent pickup. I always liked the She-Ra character. I always liked Masters of the Universe. I like Adam's sister Adora. I like She-Ra. I like the Horde. I prefer the Horde to most of Skeletor stuff, and I way prefer Hordak to Skeletor by a country mile. But She-Ra's gotten a few different figures over the years. I've had a couple. I didn't have one when I was a kid. I didn't have an original She-Ra. I only had Hordak and Leech from that line, actually. But they've done a few She-Ras over the years. I have an Origins one. They did an early one in the Masterverse line. But a couple of months ago, I saw pictures of a new new Etheria version of She-Ra, so it's still recognizable, but it had like this cool crest. And then I thought, then I lost track of it. I didn't order. I never saw anything but a pre-order, and then I lost track. And I thought, crap, I think I missed it, and it sucks because I wanted that figure. And then I went into Target like 2 days later, and they had it. They had just stocked apparently, and I'm like, all right, good. I bought She-Ra, and I've never seen it since. But this is such a cool figure. It's beautiful.
Nice.
Um,
Yeah, it's one
like
of the versions of She-Ra I've seen.
yeah, she's got a vintage style shield. So it's got the plastic gem in it. She's got the the sword of power, but yeah, I the original She-Ra had an accessory that was like wings or like a crown that went around the head, but it did not look like this. It was not a design like that. And when I found this figure, I was like, oh, I didn't miss it, and I do need it. And uh, as soon as I got it home, her and Agent Carter started hanging out, kicking Nazi ass together. Because I figure she's probably here on Earth from New Etheria, and she probably came to help with the Nazi problem. I just I don't really need to specify what era I'm even talking about.
Right.
But yeah, She-Ra is kind of one of those where I'm glad her popularity has stuck around just as much as He-Man.
Yeah.
I will mention She-Ra and the Princess of Power Netflix series, 5 seasons of it, is going away in February. I'm very sad about that. I've watched it through a couple times. I was gonna do another rewatch, but I'm like, I don't think I'm gonna be able to finish it before that. Before that, and they've only ever brought the first 3 seasons out on DVD. There are no DVDs for seasons 5 and 4 and 5. So, and now it looks even more unlikely that we're ever going to. So, whatever. I've got this She-Ra figure, and soon I'll have my memories of watching that series. But the original series is one that the original She-Ra cartoon. I've watched a few episodes of it, and it's Filmation. It's cheesy, just like He-Man is, but I think the plots are a little better. They're a little. It's slightly less goofy. Which goofy is part of the charm. Do not get me wrong. That is not a complaint. He-Man and the Masters of the Universe has always had a goofy cheese factor that's always been part of the magic of it for me. But She-Ra's cartoon was a little less so in to a point, but uh, yeah, it seems like it. I'm glad that Mattel keeps bringing her into the line, and this year marked 40 years since She-Ra was first introduced. So,
Okay.
dude, we're getting old. I'm just
Yeah.
saying.
I actually got a probably like my second or third he Masters of the Universe figure ever in my last batch from Toys R Us, Big Bad Toy Store. I got a really cool Anti-Eternia He-Man. Uh,
Oh, there's a Masterverse figure of that I love. Like that is such. I don't know what the source of it was. I don't know where the inspiration came from, but he's such a cool look.
that might be the
Uh,
one I picked up. It's got interchangeable headpiece, so he's got like this skull like helmet and then a regular.
yeah, it's the Masterverse. I love that. It looks like something out of Conan the Barbarian.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's fantastic. It comes with three different swords. Two of the all of the swords will stow in his shield.
Oh shit! All right, that's cool.
Yeah, I'm like, fuck, I don't what am I gonna do with three different swords? He needs one. I'm like, oh, he can store the other ones in his shield. I'm like, fucking A, I love action features like that. Anything I love having tons of accessories, but I want my figure to be able to hold all of the accessories that he comes with. And he can. And I'm like,
That's awesome.
yeah,
Um,
I don't know
that's
why, but
awesome.
I love the anti-Eternia stuff. I think
Yeah,
it's
I like I
such.
said, I don't know what the source was, where that idea came from, so I don't even understand it myself.
I think Mark
But
explained it on our when we had him on.
oh my god, it was a
Yeah,
while
I think he talked about it for a
ago.
minute or two.
They are
We had him on.
like it is very cool, and now I'm like, maybe I should pick that one up too. Um,
I'm glad I did. I was kind of on the fence. I'm like, I've spent a lot of money recently, but I'm like, I didn't get the original one when it came out, the Anti-Eternia He-Man. Then they did one that came with a battle cat, and that looked fantastic. But it was
oh, in the Origins line, I think it was.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that was very cool too. But
it was very expensive, and it's more. And I was like, I don't collect
I'm
them.
gonna guess it was an exclusive. They do those a lot.
It might have been,
Um,
I don't remember. And it's like it's more money than I wanted to spend for it, so I skipped that one too. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Fuck it. I'm getting
yep.
it. It did not make my list this year, but what did make my list is uh, something that I didn't buy. So one of the things that just absolutely drives me nuts here in Colorado is we do have good Comic Cons, but there are no toy vendors at any of these Comic Cons. No like vintage toy vendors that come to these
That
things.
sucks.
It does. It's really fucking annoying because I mean it is and it
When you
isn't.
go
I
to a
would probably
convention, you
spend,
want to go toy shopping if you can.
yeah, I would probably spend a lot more money at it at the Comic Cons if they had vintage toy collectors there, but they never do. And then there's at the mall that's close to the house, there's a bunch of guys got together, pooled all their collections, and started essentially a comic book store and toys, vintage toy collection store and Pokemon cards. And they've managed to keep it going. And they put together a local toy convention. And unfortunately, I had to work. I was on duty that week.
Damn it.
So I missed it. But my wife went and she's like, and I was like, I really want to go because there's no toys to be had, vintage toy stores around here. And
You know how happy it makes me that your wife is as big a nerd as you are. Um,
so she went in and she's like, so my husband collects toys. I don't know what he's got. He's got a lot of shit. I want something cool for him since he can't be here today. What do you have? And they sold her Loose but complete Triptychon.
The dinosaur Decepticon. Oh, okay, that's unexpected.
I'm gonna get it. So hang on a sec here. Let me pause it.
Yeah, let's see it. Triptych.
And this is what she
Oh,
came home with. She said
oh shit.
she took a close-up picture of like this part right here and sent it to me, and she said, "This is waiting for you when you get home." And she's like, "Don't Google image it to reverse search to see what it is." So I didn't. And then I did, and it said Triptychon. And I'm like, there's no fucking way she bought me a Triptychon. So it was purple and gray. And I'm like, she must have found like a Motor Master or something, you know? So I got home and yeah, this thing was sitting on the kitchen table waiting for me.
That's awesome.
And I do collect Transformers. I did a lot more a number of years ago than I do now. I'm very particular in what I get in as far as Transformers now. Um, but I have never had a Titan class Transformer.
Neither have I. Um,
I tried to get Metroplex when it came out, and people were finding him at Costco, and he didn't show up here because that was the first Titan class Transformer they made when they started making Titan class. And then yeah, they made a Triptychon. I don't know which version this is. I don't know how old it is, but yeah, it's fucking awesome.
that is awesome,
And my
dude.
wife picked it up for me and like this I'm like this is totally making the top 10 acquisitions of the
Fuck yeah, that is so cool.
it is.
Um,
It's phenomenal. And I haven't transformed it. I don't have the instructions for it. I'm sure I could find them on YouTube. I don't know that I want to. I mean, I had to clear off a coffee table in the display room to set him on because he's so big that I
you
didn't
know,
have a place for him. But
he's a triple changer, right?
no, I don't think so.
I could be wrong.
I don't
I
think so.
don't know what his other mode looks like, but I would personally just leave it in dinosaur mode because it's
Yeah.
a fucking dinosaur who can fight, and it's a dinosaur. What else is there? Um, you just need a Grimlock to fight him. Yeah, he's considerably larger than Grimlock, but Grimlock's dumb. He'll go into a fight no matter what. So,
Yeah. No, I had to add that to my top 10 acquisitions
dude, fuck yeah.
of the year.
Um,
I didn't get it. I It's not something that I would have gotten myself, and it's super cool. And my wife got it for me, so
yeah, yeah, your wife's awesome, and that is proof right there. Um,
yeah, absolutely. All right, go with your next.
is the or no, my second to last choice
The second one.
uh is the slice and dice
Mm.
classified two pack. They were on my classified wish list at the end of 2024, but I figured that they would eventually, maybe, possibly, probably, if we were lucky, we'd get the slice and dice. But in no way would I ever have anticipated 8 months later I would have them in my hand because they were announced at a summer convention.
Yeah.
And like a month later, like I pre ordered them, and like a month later, they shipped and I got them in hand. And I'm just like, holy fuck. Not only did they give us Slice and Dice, who are my favorite Cobra Ninjas in all of G.I. Joe. No, aside of the obvious of I'm a Snake Eyes fan, Slice and Dice are my favorite ninjas. And not only did they update the originals in huge ways and make them look just as cool as they did then, but way more so for like adult aesthetics. But they gave them all kinds of accessories that, again, I'm probably not going to use them for them, but they're cool to have. And like I said, when I put them on my wish list for classified, I thought, I think there's a good chance they'll get made eventually. since we had gotten Nunchuck like a year or two before that in the line, but I didn't expect them to basically turn around and be like, "All right, we're gonna do slice and dice." Then they're both phenomenal figures. The weapons are awesome. The articulation's great. The way they updated the costume details all made sense to me, but I would have been happy even if they had just one to one recreated but scaled up the originals. But the fact that they decided to go nuts with extra armor, decent accessories, and some ninja weapons that are specific to them, inspired by the designs of the weapons are again inspired by information on their file cards. It was
Yeah.
like an unnecessary detail that I'm so happy that they decided to go with. Um, they're my last classified entry for the line, but I saved my favorite for last because, like I said, I was just so happy to have them in hand that they were, but it was like huge bonus points that they're also fucking phenomenal.
I have to admit that I have been on the fence about that. I had Slice and Dice as a kid. Um, Always enjoyed playing with them. They were definitely some of the last figures that I got as a kid, so I didn't play with them as much. They didn't get a lot of play time just because I was kind of phasing out of GI Joe at that point in time. Um, and I was really impressed with what they did. I
Yeah,
as a
when you said that you were contemplating it, that's when I knew that you were impressed because aside of Snake Eyes and that red ninja from Classified, you don't really buy ninjas. So the fact that you even considered Slice and Dice tells me, wow, they that's how impressed you were with the effort that they put into the Classified version.
Yeah. So I am still on the fence. I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to pick them up. Hasbro Pulse still does have them in stock. They are a Pulse exclusive. Um, I'm pretty sure they're Pulse exclusive.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Um, Pulse still does have them in stock, which really kind of surprises me, honestly, because have not seen any negative comments about these. Uh,
I haven't either. I don't. I mean, I tend to, as best I can, stay away from comments that uh, boards and threads and groups that I know are going to have a lot of naysaying, but I, I, I didn't even see any scantily negative comments like, oh, they're great. I'm not buying them, but they're great. I saw that, but I never said it. I never saw anybody say, wow, those really suck, and I'm passing on them.
no,
Um,
I
no,
haven't seen anybody say that they've got them in hand and have been disappointed with them. I try and stay away from the comment section too, but I'll look at them just to kind of see what the vibe is, to see what the consensus of the collecting community is. Usually it's divisive, and that's definitely one of the points I'm going to talk about on my next addition to my list. And it is not one thing, it's not one particular toy, it's four of them. And it's all of the all of the new vehicles, the mask vehicles from Loyal Subjects. Um,
ah, yes.
it has been almost 40 years since we got new toys from a mask line. Um, for I had to stop and think about that for a minute when you consider how long how popular Star Wars figures have been, how popular G.I. Joe figures have been, Masters of the Universe, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all that stuff was super popular, and they've had toy lines off and on. Most all of these brands have had toy lines off and on, if not constantly, since they came out in the 1980s. Mask, I think, is one of those toy lines that is just as popular as almost as popular, if not as popular as some of those toy lines that I've mentioned, but there have been no new toys since the original three or four lines or three or four waves came out in the uh, mid 80s. And to me, that just, I had to stop and think about that for a minute. I'm like, that kind of blows my mind that something this popular never got a revival. And here it is. Um, the downside is that the toys are very expensive. Uh, it's a small toy company that does not, from what I understand, does not have a particularly decent track record of getting stuff out on time or for cheap. But they do have a lot of 80s licenses. Um, then once in hand, a lot of people complained about the quality and quality control issues on these. I did a video review of the four vehicles, two of which I did have as a kid, two of which I did not. Um, there were a few problems that I think, were pretty easily solved. A lot of the things that people were complaining about, I did not have problems with in my vehicles, about quality, and people are saying that they're janky and they're not. I from the vehicles that I had as a kid, I mean, they're not, number one, they're complete new tools. They are not retooled from the originals. They're completely new and original vehicles. They're based on the original ones, obviously, but they're complete new vehicles, which, they're not remolds, which I think is that in and of itself increases your cost.
I was going to say that would have made them expensive in the first place because even the retooled originals, that probably would have been cheaper than creating all new molds. But for a smaller toy company, they didn't need to go that way, and it's awesome that they did.
And what people are considering janky, it's like, I had the original one of this. It did the same fucking thing. It had the same fucking problems.
Sometimes people's expectations are unrealistically high, and
And I
I
think
kind
that's
of feel bad for those people because
and I
that
think
leads
that
to a lot of disappointment.
and I think that's part of the problem inherent with not having a toy line for 40, almost 40 years, is there has been nothing in between. So
True.
we've got these childhood memories of these fantastic toys that probably weren't that fantastic to begin with. They all had quality issues. They were kind of janky. The figures were not very good. And now all of a sudden we have something that's comparable, and they still have some of the same janky quality issues that the originals did. And to me, those janky qualities, the doors not fully opening on the Thunderhawk, it just hits this big nostalgia button. It's like, this is what I had when I was a kid. It's exactly what I had as a kid. And I I don't see where the hatred for these is coming from. I mean, I get the fact that they're super expensive. I spent way more money on these than I wanted to, but man, I'm I figured this is a line that's going to be, unless they do some of the vehicles that were in the cartoons that never got vehicles, this is a line that's going to eventually run out of stuff to make at some point in time, because there were not that many vehicles originally. I think there's maybe around 20 um, original vehicles. This is a line that's gonna find its end in a few years, regardless of how popular or unpopular it is. They're either gonna get they're either going to be popular enough that they're going to be able to make all the original vehicles and maybe some of the vehicles that were in the cartoon that never got vehicles, or they're going to peter out in a couple of waves. Either way, I've invested a little bit of money and I've got some pretty cool toys to show for it. So
You know,
all four of the
it
vehicles make my list because the figures, they're highly articulated. They have painted faces. They have two different masks. One of the masks is more what it looked like in the cartoon. The other mask is more what it looked like on the original figure. I love the fact, and it has an action feature sculpted to that. And
I love that feature. I think they look super cool that way.
yeah,
Um,
and I did a video review. I had people get on my thing and tell me I was wrong. I'm like,
your opinion is wrong, sir. It's just wrong.
yeah,
That's all. But
oh,
to be fair, not everybody, but the old saying goes, some people are just happier when they're miserable. And
yeah,
that's just true. Some people just bitch about everything.
yeah. And quite honestly, I think it's there's no way I would have gone back and collected these toys. They're hard to get in really good condition. They To get them in good condition, they're very expensive. And if I'm going to spend the money, I'm going to get one. I'm not going to get a shitty incomplete one that's 40 years old. I'm going to get I'm going to get the new version of it that's brand new in the box, and I'll be happy with it. And
And
I'm happy with it. And
I'm going to presume that they're probably made of better plastic, and the 40-year-old ones would probably be more fragile. Uh,
I think
just a
so.
guess, but
I think so, but like I said, the I think they've improved the quality just enough to make them last.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I said some of the features they're off by just a little bit, and it's like, man, this is what this vehicle was when I was a kid, and it's just it's I don't see that often where something that somebody has made something based off of something else 40 years down the road and had it come out and just like, man, this is pure nostalgia right here. You just I haven't seen anything like that. And the fact that Mask hasn't had toys in that whole time frame, again, that's another one of those things that's like, how did this get overlooked for so long? And I like the toys. I think they're fantastic. I don't have any problems with them. The few problems that I do that are inherent to the vehicles were inherent to the original ones. And to me, that's just like, you know what? If I'd have bought a vintage one, it would have had the same issues. I wish the loyal subjects well. I'm looking forward to the pre-orders for Wave 2, and I'm hoping that they are able to get all of the original Mask vehicles built because I will buy them. So that is my second to the last pick for 2025 is the masked stuff from Loyal Subjects.
And my last choice for my 10 favorite acquisitions of 2025, the G.I. Joe Transformers crossover Soundwave Thunder Machine. I do not currently have it assembled as the Thunder Machine because my son decided he wanted to see what the robot mode, so he started transforming it. Suddenly realized he couldn't transform it. I got to the point I was like, no, it's all right. I can transform it back, and don't worry. And then I'm like, fuck, I can't do it without a YouTube video, and I don't have the patience for that right now. So right now it's in limbo between both modes, but uh before that, Thrasher jumped out to safety, and now he's just bitching that I've been too lazy to find that YouTube video again and reassemble it. But uh, regardless of its current uh, condition, I had to put it on the list because I love Dreadnoks. Thrasher's my favorite Dreadnok. I have never owned a Thunder Machine in my life. I didn't have one when I was a kid. I didn't have one. I never bought uh, as an adult collector. I never went back and bought one. I never had the Street Fighter Beast Blaster, which was a repaint uh, of the Thunder Machine, and I is as many times as I thought about, because that's not one. We never got a new sculpt version. We never got
Mm-mm.
one for the anniversary line.
Nope.
And so I've simply never had one. And they just and one of the one when they announced it, I would have bought it anyways because well, it came with Zartan, and I have to, um, and Soundwave's one of my. I'm not crazy about the Soundwave being the Thunder Machine,
Yeah.
but I don't really care because I was gonna finally have a Dreadnought Thunder Machine because one of the reasons I never went back and bought a vintage one was whenever you buy old vehicles, I don't know what the plastic is like. I don't know if it's brittle as shit. And I never wanted to buy one that I was going to have to worry about Thrasher breaking because he drives it too hard. And by too hard, I mean I push it across the floor and it falls apart or something. But don't have that problem. And so I don't have an original to compare it to.
Yeah.
But in my head, it looks faithful to the original, and I'm happy about that. I have because they come halfway transformed in the box, halfway. So I did turn it into Soundwave first, just because I wanted to see it. And then I put Z- Zarana and Zartan in his back to look like they're being carried like Yoda was on Luke's back, and it was ridiculous. And I laughed, and I I took them out of there, and I immediately transformed it into the Thunder Machine. And by immediately, I mean while watching a 20-minute YouTube tutorial that went step by step that I kept having to be like, having to keep rewinding. God damn it, dude, slow down. I'm a moron when it comes to this stuff. Because, look, I love Transformers, but the alt modes of the toys are my least favorite aspect of Transformers. So transforming them is not intuitive for me. But
Yeah.
yeah, it had to make my list. I'm like, finally, Thrasher had his ride, and it really did reinforce that that I understand the wishes for people by people to have a classified Thunder Machine, and it really makes me think if they do announce a classified one, I'm gonna have to make it my second Thunder Machine because I love that thing. I love it, and even if it's never in robot mode again, I'm okay with that because I always figure they're Transformers are vehicles that just talk to the Joes as their drivers, anyways. So, um, on Cybertron they had their modes, but on Earth they find more practical means, and including as vehicles for, um, and yeah, I was really glad. I mean, I did wait a while for it to get discounted because that price was initially, and I'm cheap as shit. But as soon as it did, I'm like, well, there it goes. I need it. So
Yeah, I think I sent
yeah,
you a link when I saw it was on sale.
yeah. Oh, that's right. You did. You sent it to me. You're like, it's on sale. I don't think it's going to get cheaper than that. I'm like, it doesn't have to. I just bought it.
I would like to take this opportunity and reinforce the fact that JD and I did not talk about our lists before we put this show together. But
Oh.
the last thing on my list, I too am a GI Joe Transformer fan. The crossovers, I have all of the GI Joe Transformer crossover stuff, or I should say, I had most of the GI Joe Transformer crossover stuff, except one particular set that eventually became a Grail set because it did not do well at retail. I think it was online exclusive only, so it was really you could only pick it up there. It was fairly expensive when it came out. I was working a shitty job. I couldn't afford it when it came out, so I missed it. And it was the one crossover set I didn't have. And this year had a little extra money, and I'm like, you know what? I'm picking that up this year. And I picked up the GI Joe.
Oh shit! You finally got it.
I did. I got the GI Joe
Oh.
Transformer Ninja Force set, which
Oh fuck yeah. I'm happy that you finally got it.
which comes with the one of my favorite versions of Scarlet. It comes with Dr. Jones Biggle. It comes with the very cool Cobra Commander. It comes with uh, two of the cassettes and a translucent Megatron, which is supposed to be a hologram. But this this was a grail set for me. I paid way too much money for it, but the guy that I bought it from let me split up the payments on it. So I
Ah, nice,
yeah.
nice.
So I
Um,
over the course of a couple of months and made it more
that's phenomenal, dude. That's epic.
yeah.
I'm really happy you have that. I didn't know
Yeah.
you had it because
Yeah,
I
and
know.
I didn't post it because it's one of the things that's like I've said a many times. I'm like, I'm never gonna have this in my set. It's too expensive. I don't want to spend the money on it. And then I turned around, like I said that on an episode of General Geekery, and then like the next week, this guy's like, I got this. Do you want it? I'm like, I do.
I I had that set from when it was originally offered by the club.
Yeah.
They put it up for pre-order. I had it. It was done way late in the life of the GI Joe Collectors Club. I think it was only released a year or two before the club stopped before the fan club that it was went away and
And
they stopped making toys. But
it came out at
I had it then. What's that?
it came out at a bad time for them for sure.
Yeah, exactly. But there was plenty of new in there, and finally they updated Ninja Force Scarlet, which Hasbro was never going to update. Now I think they will. I do hope a classified Ninja Scarlet is possible at some point,
I think it is.
but you've wanted that set for a long time because I've got I had that set. I ordered it originally because I love that crossover. G2 Megatron is my Megatron. I prefer him over G1 Megatron. That's just and it's because of that crossover in the GI Joe Transformers comics at the time. But I've had that set for a long time. You wanted it for, but you're like it's stupid prices, and uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm glad that you were able to get that. That's awesome. And even better that the guy let you just. It was like having it for layaway. That's really nice. My
Yeah.
God. Um,
I
truly a once in a lifetime deal.
yeah, absolutely. I couldn't pass it up. He was asking like the regular price for it, and he's like, I'm not budging on the price. I'm like, I don't blame you. I wouldn't die if I was selling it either. Um, but yeah, he let me split it up into to four payments over like 2 months, and I'm like, let's do it. Fuck it.
I'm happy about this. This
Yeah,
is this is
and
what a way to end your list, dude. That's awesome.
but I find it highly amusing that the first thing on our list was the exact same thing, and the last thing on our list
Yeah,
was a GI Joe Transformer crossover set.
that's funny. Are
Uh,
you going to open it?
I
Did you?
haven't decided. I've had it. I got it fairly early in the year, and I have not been able to dig into it. I
It does look so nice in the package. It
it
really
does
does.
it does, and I have empty boxes lining the wall where my display is. So it sits nicely with the other Transformers crossover boxes. So I'm
And
like,
it's got the file cards there if you ever want to read them at a glance.
yeah, so I really want to dig that Scarlet out because that's to me that's one of the few Grail figures that I have. There's probably like three or four Grail figures from like New Sculpt that I really want and really can't afford, and they're either figure subscription, figure subscription figures, club figures, or convention figures. And it's like that Ninja Force Scarlet is definitely one of those like Grail figures that I've wanted for a long time, and I really kind of want to dig it out. And but at the same time, I'm like, ooh, I like how it looks in the box.
yeah, and you love gimmicky packaging, and that's mostly clear, so you can see the whole thing and
Yeah.
enjoy it. It's not
Yeah.
like
And that's what's really cool is like
there's
it's
no extra cardboard like over it to obscure the. Oh, Scarlet just fell out.
well, there you go. So it is already open. I think he said that he had it on display. Had opened it for display purposes, but still had it all in the packaging.
Yeah. Well, now Scarlet's open, so
Yeah. So that this was my one of my Grail purchases for the year. Um,
that's awesome.
yeah, I didn't do as much. So like last year and the year before, I spent a lot of time collecting like the specialty vipers and unique cobras. And I have most of those in my collection now. So the JD and I were gonna do a few honorable mentions for the list. So a couple of the ones that I got this year, I was able to get the convention repulsor, which is the Toxo Viper Commander, and
Sludge Viper.
what's that?
Sludge Viper.
It's Toxo Viper on the card.
Sludge Viper. Um,
Toxo Viper on the card. I just looked.
all right, but it's based on the Sludge Viper, damn it.
It is.
Um,
Uh, I was able to get the Lethal, which is um the Frag Viper commander. And I got him again. The two guys I got those from, they both cut me a fantastic. I got a smoking deal on that repulsor. I got it for like it's complete, and I got it for like $60.
damn, damn, that's half of what you would have paid on eBay.
It's
If that
less.
might be less than half. I don't know. Last time I looked at that set, I was like, because a few years ago, because I bought Cesspool and I bought the Toxo Viper, but I looked at the repulsor. I'm like, nope, guess I won't own that. So,
Yeah.
oh, that's right. They used him as the commander for the because they never actually made the Sludge Viper update. But um,
But as a specialty Viper commander, I'm like, I've got to have that figure in my collection. I just
yeah,
somebody had it and it was our best offer, and I'm like, would you do 60 on it? He's like, yep, sold. And I'm like, because it's somebody I'd bought stuff from before too. So I bought a lot of higher end stuff from this guy before, and he's like, yeah, I'll take
nice.
it on this one. He's like, I just want it gone, basically. And I think I paid about the same for the lethal too. So that's a couple of my honorable mentions. So JD's gonna throw in a honorable mention, then I'll throw in an honorable mention, and that'll be about it.
Mine is the Super 7 Reaction Plus Big Lob. I have been waiting since 1987 to own a vintage style Big Lob. The GI Joe Collectors Club did offer an O-ring style Big Lob back in 2006 or 2007. But one look at that figure, and you should be offended by it. It's I know what they were going for, but they shouldn't have oughta, as Aerosmith says. They honestly, the less said, the better about it. Super 7 comes along. They give us they put Big Lob in the Reaction Plus GI Joe movie line. They knocked it out of the park. He's taller than the rest of the O-ring figures, as Big Lob should be. Um, he's he's got all the he looks just like he stepped right out of the movie.
Yep.
I I glued the removable bandolier at his shoulder just because it kept moving. Because right now he's in the Ostrikers because he's a little taller. So I wanted to see if he would fit inside the retro um, modern um, Ostriker, and he does. His hair scrapes on the bottom of the canopy, but he does fit. But he almost made my list, but I'm just like I was so happy to have one finally because back in 2017 they did a modern version. It was a repaint. It was a Frankenstein figure, and honestly, it was a pretty good effort. But even when I was buying modern 3 3/4 inch, 4 inch stuff, um, I never mixed my O ring and my modern Joes together. I aesthetically, they so didn't match up.
Yeah.
So while that was a great big lob that went with my modern stuff, he didn't fill that gap uh, for me who wanted a vintage one. And finally, Super Seven did, and they really did a great job with it.
Yeah, I that's one of the things that I was saying about the Fatal Fluffies is I'm glad that they are not beholden to try and make everything the same size. That's
Yeah, because
that's one of the
he's
things.
just tall enough to be effective. It's noticeable without being exaggerated. And I'm quite, yeah, he's taller than Destro. Vintage Destro or 1983 Destro is the tallest Joe figure in the line, I think, but not by much. And he's taller than that. And so I'm like, all right, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And on a whim, I found him just last month at the store. I thought I was gonna have to order him. When I found him at the store, I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And I found him right alongside that the winter coat Destro. Fuck me, what a phenomenal figure that is too.
I bought that one.
Um,
I picked I did not get the big lob, um, but I did pick up that the winter coat Destro, and I'm like, nice figure.
Big Lob made me because I do have Jinx and I do have Chuckles,
I do have Jinx.
and I do have Tunnel Rat, but it made me realize that I don't have Law, and I no wait no I take that back. I have Falcon. I don't have a vintage Tunnel Rat anymore. I used to. I don't have one anymore, and I do not have a vintage Law. So my rawhides are still incomplete, but in my heart they are complete because they finally gave us a big lob that was worthy.
And that's honestly that's one of the reasons that I didn't pick him up is like I don't have Law and Order. I do have a Falcon, but he's not complete. I do have a Tunnel Rat, and he is complete. Um, I don't have a vintage Jinx, but I do have the Reaction Plus Jinx. I'm like, and I don't have a vintage Law and Order. I'm like, if I get a big lot, then I'm gonna have to track down the other one. It's like,
Yeah,
there's
it's that is basically what happened to me. I'm like, I don't need them complete, but I really do need to get Tunnel Rat and Law now because
yeah,
just I
yeah.
have a 1993 Law. Look, I like that figure. That ain't the same thing. So,
And then I figured
um,
if I got Chuckles, then fuck, I'd have to get the Flaming Moth Chuckles.
yeah.
And then it's like, oh yeah, this is getting expensive quick. And it's
And then you need shipwreck, and then because he came with shipwreck, and
you
you
have
love Navy stuff, so you need that shipwreck too.
yeah, you
Yeah,
have
probably best not to open that can of worms.
yeah. So
Um,
I look, and that honestly is why I didn't pick up Big Lob. It's like I started looking at all the other stuff that I'd want to get if I got Big Lob. I'm like, nah, I'll skip the Big Lob and I'll just get the Destro instead and be happy with it. So my next honorable mention is let's see here, what do I got? The classified snake armor. Um, this is a
damn. Okay.
yeah, this is a toy. I didn't have the snake armor when I was a kid. A buddy of mine did, because he started collecting the year before I did. So he had all the 82 stuff. Um, and it was not a good toy. Um,
No, no, it's a block of shitty plastic. Um,
I bought the 25th and I loved it from the comic books. Um, I absolutely love the snake armor from the comic books when Quinn and Snake Eyes are trying to track down Dr. Venom and they get shoved in the snake armors and they have to fight and they fight each other and they escape and just they really the comic books really did the snake armor they the snake armor got more time in the comics than something like that should have. I think they weren't it was one of the few times where it's like they weren't trying to sell the toy, they were using it as a plot line. And I absolutely love that. I had the 25th anniversary one. It was a piece of shit. Bought the I bought the night. It wasn't a night version one. But it was black.
It was in the Rise of Cobra line. It was a Target exclusive. It was red and black, and great color scheme. It was the same shitty snake that it had been since 1983. Um,
I bought it. It's sitting on the deck of my flag right now. I love the color scheme. It's a piece of shit. Um, there's very few times that JD and I will agree on, like, there are pieces of shit that in the GI Joe line that I absolutely love and JD fucking hates, and vice versa. And this is one of the few times that I absolutely love the concept of the snake armor, but JD is right. It's a piece of shit toy.
it's trash. It was trash when I was a kid. Uh,
It was
it
worth
was one of the I didn't have it, but I knew people who did have it, and I didn't want it. It
no,
took a lot for there to be a GI Joe figure that I just did not want.
yeah.
I did not want the snake
The
armor.
pieces didn't stay together was the big problem on the 1983 version, because the front half pegs into the back half and then the boots peg onto the figure. They didn't stay together. They sort of solved that problem with the 25th anniversary line by using a softer plastic. The plastic stay together a little bigger, a little better, but it's still janky as fuck because you've got these oversized leg pieces attached to a figure that's stuck inside something else that it can fall out of. And it's like,
What
fuck,
a
I
piece
want
of
this to
junk.
be way cooler than it is, and it sucks, and I fucking hate it. And the classified's like, you know what? We can fix that. And they did.
And they they're there's it's like it's like a mech. There's something like slightly Ed 209 about the thing. It was cool enough when you unbox. It was cool enough when you unboxed it on the show. I'm like, you know what? They did enough with that it might even sell me on the snake armor. Not to buy it, but just as a concept. I'm like, they actually improved it enough that I'm like, because it's big, it's bulky, it's huge. It looks like it's meant for urban pacification and would be really good at it. Um, it was cool enough that I'm like, shit, even I can see the potential in the snake armor now, and I never thought that would happen.
Is a fun toy to play with. The plastic is soft enough that you don't have to worry about breaking it, but it's durable enough that you can pose it. It's it is something that, like, if you gave one to Blake, you wouldn't have to worry about, he's gonna fucking break that, and it there goes 100 and however many dollars. Nope. The kids can play with this one, and I did a custom figure for it. I took one of the Cobra Valkyrie figures and an extra Ghost Viper helmet, and I repainted them in white and blue. And this that was it took me a while to do this because I don't do 6-inch customs, but I'm like, I need a custom pilot for this mech. And I called her the Snake Charmer, and it blew up my feed. I was like, this is probably the simplest figure custom I've ever made. It's not particularly there's nothing particular, there's no fancy paint jobs on this. I
you
didn't
don't do a lot of straight up repaints. You usually have some parts meshes or dremeled stuff or
Yeah,
yeah, you don't do a lot of straight
straight
repaints.
up repaint. I didn't do any washes on the body. I did a little bit of a wash to the head, to the helmet. I didn't have an interchangeable head because I'm like, I don't have an inexhaustible supply of 6-inch stuff for customs like I do for 4-inch stuff. So I didn't have an interchangeable unmasked head for it like I do all my other customs. It was not very impressive, but people just fucking loved the figure. And it's just one of those things that's like, you just never know what people are gonna like.
Well, and it's to keep the cost down. I think that's why they didn't include a pilot with it.
Yeah.
And this way, if you wanted the army build it, then the costs were lower. But it's kind of one of those where it's almost kind of sad that it's the first Cobra vehicle release that doesn't include a. So, and it was nice because you made it look like it belonged with that vehicle, and I could see why it got a big response. But it is just funny because sometimes you put all kinds of effort into a thing, and people like it, and it gets a lot of views, but doesn't blow up. And it
Right.
sounds like this. Um,
Yeah, and
but
this was, I mean, white paint. We've talked about it on our customizing shows that
fuck
white
white
paint is
paint.
not easy to use. I hate painting white. That's why I have an airbrush. And I had done a couple. I I had to start over on it because I'm like this looks like shit. So I reprimered it and started over from scratch. Found the color scheme that I liked. I'm like, this is a boring ass figure. It sucks. I hate it. And so
But you just finished it.
I I I gritted it out and I sat down. It took me like a month. Like I haven't spent that much time on one custom in years. And I'm like, I just need to bite the bullet and finish this. So I sat down over the course of like 2 days and finished the all the paint work. And I just gotten the Ghost Viper, and I'm like, well, this Ghost Viper is not complete because all of the animals are on my wife's desk at work. So I might as well use the extra helmet. I used the Ghost Viper helmet, and it came out nice, and I'm happy with it. And it's a fun toy. So the snake is an honorable mention for this year.
uh, my other honorable mention, um, technically, it was an acquisition for Blake because as soon as he got into Marvel Legends, he started going through what I had. And there's some figures that I bought simply because they were affordable and I wanted that figure represented in the scale, but sometimes I wasn't real discerning about what it was. But one of the things he decided early on was that the Hulk figure that I had was garbage. And while I believe he was right, because I bought it, it was from Age of Ultron. It was affordable. I bought it. I never actually used it with my Joes because I'm like, wow, this figure actually kind of sucks. Basically, I got what I paid for. And now, if I ordered that same figure, I'd be overpaying and not getting what I paid for. But wasn't great. But one of the figures initially that Blake just said, no, just no, we're going to find a different version. And I agreed. But we started looking through the Marvel Legends Hulks, and most of them, I don't know why, but they seem to have a lot of trouble getting Hulk right. There's a
Yeah.
lot of characters that they make a bunch of versions of, and it's like, well, they don't really need to because they get it right most of the way. Hulk, they keep fucking up, either bad head sculpts, shitty proportions, or weird
Yeah.
gimmicks that are just unnecessary. But Blake finally decided that he found the one that was his favorite, and neither of us liked the first appearance Wolverine, but and so we crack a lot of jokes about how dumb it looks. But when he found the perfect Hulk, he realized it was in a 2 pack. The Marvel Universe, the Marvel Legends 80th anniversary 2 pack of
Wow.
first appearance Wolverine versus Hulk. And so I looked and I'm like, holy shit, this set is expensive. And I'm like, yeah, no. Um, Especially because we don't even like maybe I'd overpay if we like that. Neither of us like that Wolverine. So I'm like, no. And then trying to find Hulk on his own was almost as much as just buying the 2 pack, which was, so. And then one day he was looking and he found it on AliExpress. Now I haven't ordered anything on AliExpress in years and years. And the last time I did, it was it was stuff for like they were like kids' shoes, kids' clothes, that kind of stuff, because it was cheap and then they could outgrow it real fast. So we ordered like these slippers, non-skid slippers. So it had been a decade since I'd ordered anything, but he found this Hulk. It was like half price compared to the ones that I was finding on eBay, and it was a third the price of what the 2 pack was going for. And I thought, I told him I ordered it. it probably won't be here till after New Year, so it wasn't a Christmas gift. So when I got it last week, the day before, or I got it, it showed up on Christmas Eve, and I picked him up Christmas Eve, and so I put it on the table. He was all excited. So this is it. This is the 80th anniversary 2-pack Hulk. This thing is everything we needed in a Hulk figure, where they didn't fuck up the head sculpt. The green is right. The pants are right. They're purple, just like classic Hulk. It looks a lot like Hulk had a lot of merchandise when I was a kid, and it was because of the TV show. Like that
Sure.
TV show was immensely popular,
Yeah.
and it inspired a lot of Hulk merchandise. And he tended to have the universal look of the shaggy hair, the green skin, the purple pants, and even the cartoon, even the later things like the '90s cartoon. That's what they went with. That's basically Hulk's uniform look. All the different Hulk figures that Hasbro's made over the years, some that were faithful recreations of the purple pants version, some were other things, but the number of shit figures that they've made of Hulk is staggering, including in the modern Marvel Legends line. There's just some that I'm just like, what the fuck were they thinking with this figure? There's the Maximum series that just came out, the $60 Hulk figure. The chest is vinyl, so it could do the slap for the Hulk.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I I'm seeing videos where the vinyl is ripping. It's a $60 figure, but they basically went all out in creating the Hulk thunderclap pose, and they
Yeah.
sort of let the rest of it they fall by the wayside. It's got three different head sculpts, all inspired by specific artists, but none of them captured the look. It's really gross for like $60. And when Blake found this one, I'm like, shit, no way. I'm gonna have to find a deal like at a convention. And then he found it on AliExpress. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna roll the dice. I'm gonna see if it showed up in less than 2 weeks, and he was happy and I was happy. So that's why it makes my honorable mention.
To to illustrate how shitty Marvel Legends Hulks are, my Marvel Legends scale Hulk is a knockoff SH Figuarts.
Damn.
Yeah. I
Damn.
don't even have a Marvel Legends Hulk. I have a knockoff SH Figuarts Hulk that I got to go with all my Hulk busters. And
That makes sense. Okay.
and
So
it's a knockoff. The plastic is, you can definitely feel the plastic is cheaper. The joints aren't as stiff, but the sculpt and the paints are really nice. And I'm like, this is all I need. I am not buying a shitty Marvel Legends Hulk because I couldn't find one that I liked. I'm like, this
yep.
head's too small, the chest is too big, the proportions are weird, this is ugly, it's the wrong version of the Hulk. I wanted the classic look, and I went with a knockoff SH Figuarts that I got for 20 or 30 bucks. It
I
showed
was
up.
gonna buy a gray Hulk just as a placeholder because the same sculpt is available with the blue pants and the gray skin. I almost bought that as a placeholder because it was half the price, and I'm like, you know what? It'll hold. It'll replace that shitty Age of Ultron abomination. Uh, and but I'm like, yeah, it'll. But then he found that deal, and I'm like, fuck it, I have to. And I was happy with it. Now, unfortunately, my inbox is not happy because you make one order from AliExpress, and there's multiple emails every day with different offers and savings. And holy shit, we saw you looked at this. Come back and look at it. Oh my god! So
Yeah, because that's where I get the Planet Green Valley figures from there.
okay, so you're familiar with the amount of spam that AliExpress.
Yeah, they've got
Make one order, damn it.
a couple new of the female figures, and I'm like, I just haven't pulled the trigger because I don't want to deal with the spam as a result. So
Yeah, and I totally get it. I mean, it was worth getting this Hulk, but I don't really see myself using it very often because honestly, they have some deals, but not always any better than what you can find on eBay, but we got this must have been like a pre-Christmas sale because the other one he wants is Juggernaut. We can't find a cheap one of that.
I
But
looked for that myself just to see if I could find it because sometimes I have luck finding stuff on the cheap, and I'm like, I looked for Blake, and I'm like, I cannot I cannot find this any of the places.
yeah, because like it's funny. He'll pull up YouTube videos of various versions and he'll watch the reviews. And if he does, if if it doesn't if it doesn't strike his fancy, he'll be like, nope, nope, nope. But uh, so yeah, to enter my honorable mention, it's really special being able to share this hobby with Blake, but
Yeah.
he also expects that some of these figures are going to get like we have a real shit Thor. I need to get a new Thor. It's going to be a while. So like I think he wants me to replace the less than great figures right away, but sorry, dude, it's not going to happen right away. But
Right.
um,
I gotta plug my computer in here. Hang on a second.
that's all right. Mine is staying at that I have to plug mine into.
And we're almost done anyway. My last honorable mention is not surprisingly, it's a Monster Force Operation Monster Force figure. It is the Kilowog, and it is
Nice.
yes. So they did a collaboration with another company that I don't recall the name of to do, and it's a 1/12 scale werewolf that's wearing like a trench coat and comes with a minigun and has Major Blood dog tags and chomping on a Nick Fury cigar. And it's like
Nice.
comes with the Blaine Cooper minigun from Predator, and it's like all of my favorite tropes on a on a on a werewolf figure. It's and they were super hard to get because they only did a limited run. So I was lucky and pre-ordered it, got mine, sold out instantly. They said they're not reissuing the figure because they can't come to an agreement with the company that did the figure originally. So
Oh, so they can't make more because they can't see eye to eye on extending the run. Oh, that's because that's a really nice figure.
it is, and I think it's part of it is not that they can't see to eye, it's that the other toy company ran into some financial issues.
Oh, okay.
So
So,
I don't think it's a disagreement on any end. It's just that
oh,
the
so they made as many as they could, weren't able to make enough, and won't be able to make enough because. Oh, okay, that kind of sucks. I feel for the other company
yeah.
and the Operation Monster Force figure fans that missed out. I mean that's a great figure. I'm not. Um, I don't have any werewolves in my collection. They're cool, but I like the movies, but I've never felt any particular need to own one. That one's really nice, and I was disappointed it was sold out. And then when you told me then when I read the backstory about how they can't make anymore, I was like, oh, that really sucks. I hope they'll do an original werewolf down the road to kind of
Yeah.
fill in the gap. But yeah, that is if you're gonna buy a werewolf, that's the one to buy if
Yeah.
you can get a hold of them.
And they are very expensive on the secondary market.
I would imagine. Yeah. Yeah, my cheap ass isn't gonna be able to get one, so I'm not gonna look.
Oh, they're super expensive. Um, all in all, I think this was a fantastic year for new toys. There's a bunch of stuff that didn't make my list or my honorable mentions that were fantastic. I absolutely love the new wetsuit. I love Budo. There, all of the Monster Force stuff that came out this year was fantastic. Uh, Bunch of Marvel Legends stuff. Rom almost made my list because that was a toy that I didn't have when I was a kid. It was a piece of shit toy, um, but it was really gimmicky at the time. Um, and Marvel Legends made one, and it's like, oh man, there's another just like nostalgia piece of nostalgia. And it's not a particularly exciting figure, but I mean, it's based off a not particularly exciting toy to begin with.
But for the fans went nuts because, as I understand it, I've seen the figure and it's great. And
I
I'm
got one.
very happy that the fans got what
Yeah.
they wanted because, from what I understand, it's everything that it needed to be, and it sold like crazy. People went nuts for it. They and so that's awesome. But I I could see where that would there was almost a Power Ranger on my list because there was a weird one that I didn't know from the shows, but I had seen at Target a few years ago, and then I didn't buy it when the Lightning collection was in stores, and then it went on the secondary market, and it was like way up there. I'm like, I'm not paying that for a fucking Power Ranger. And then I found it for a steal at RetroCon, but I have it, and it was one of those where I'm so happy to have this thing. But as much as I have limited Power Rangers type stuff, part of my head canon, he doesn't fit in there because he's so different.
Yes.
Like he looks like a Power Ranger, but it looks more like he was like a common rider and that type of. So he doesn't really fit with my Rangers because whichever show he came from, I don't have anything else from it. And he doesn't really fit with my Joes. He's too sleek to be one of my. I'm like, it's a great. I'm glad I got a deal, but fuck, I wish I had figured out a use for it before I had it, and then gave up on ever having it, and then having it, and I'm like, well, I'm happy to have it at least. Um,
So the last honorable mention that I wanted to throw in was I got the John Barenthal Punisher, the new John Barenthal Punisher.
uh, yeah, I got that one too. It's pretty good.
It's okay. It's not fantastic. The paint apps on the face are kind of lacking. The sculpt is not bad. Um, the accessories are questionable at best. He does,
I think a great paint job on the head would fix it,
yeah,
and I think he'd be a great figure otherwise. But you're right, the accessories they suck.
yeah.
They suck. He needs a mini. He needs a small arsenal from Gridiron, and short of that, he can't even store the few pieces of gear that he comes with.
Yeah.
So he it was nice to have one because the previous John Barenthal Punisher from Netflix is crazy expensive on the secondary market. You can't get it.
Well,
So
I have the first one, but I'm not opening it because it's
yeah.
autographed.
Well, see, there you go.
Emily John Barenthal while I was in Ukraine, and she got it autographed for me while I was gone. So I'm
Oh,
like,
that's right. So so you do at least have it, and I checked it. I'm like, no. So I'll buy this new one, Daredevil Born Again. So I'll at least have one, but it does leave a lot to be desired. It's all right, but yeah,
yeah,
it is a good choice for an honorable mention, though.
yeah, I thought so. So I think that's about it for our top 10 acquisitions of 2025. Like I said, it's a very interesting list because we didn't pick the obvious low-hanging fruit of what's popular, and we went from one end of the spectrum of unique one of a kind things to stuff that, hey, if you miss this figure, you can still get it at retail. And there was, like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff this year, and we are looking forward to doing the top 10 acquisitions of 2026 this time next year.
I really hope this time next year comes slower than this time next year came for this year because this is Christmas Eve when we're recording this, and I don't know where 2025 went, but I don't understand how it passed as fast as it did. I really hope 2026 isn't quite so. I don't know. It's
Yeah, so
weird.
fast. Yeah. So, as always, please do that fun social media stuff. Like, share, subscribe, comment below. Tell us what your top 10 acquisitions were for the year. And stay tuned. We've got, starting next year, we've got several guests planned. Um, we're going to get Troy McKee back on the show to talk about mask stuff. One of our longest customizing buddies, Jimbo's finally agreed to be on the show. Nobody does world building like Jimbo does. Uh,
Yeah.
just a crazy cat to talk to. So Jimbo's going to be on the show. We've got other people that we're talking to try and get on the show as well. And then, as always, we'll always do updates and unboxings as cool stuff gets announced and we get it in hand. So thanks for watching.
Thanks, everybody. And Happy New Year, hopefully.
Yeah, Happy New Year.